way we play. It can be felt in our hospitality toward others. And now, best of all, on our daily non-stop flights to Seoul. Korean Air, the art of joyful flying.
Well, we're getting set for the start of this 1987 season, and Frank Cashin, who has had the longest reign of any general manager in Mets history, will throw out the first ball. We're waiting for that event to take place. Mets throwing on the sidelines, and the Mets opening up against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Last year, they opened the season in Pittsburgh and won the ball game behind Dwight Gooden. Mets have won 15 out of their last 17 times on opening day. And the Mets going today with the same lineup they used last year against left-hand pitching, as the Mets will be facing the left-hander Bob Patterson.
And of course, the Mets had such success against the Pirates last year. They were 9-0 here at Shea Stadium, and they won 8 of 9 meetings at Three Rivers in Pittsburgh. 17 out of 18 games, the Mets beat the Pirates last year.
And no team has ever swept a 18-game set since they've gone to divisional play. Right now, here's a word from Budweiser.
In the minors, you must have called it all 1,000 times. Then one day, you got the call.
What's this, rookie umpire?
You make America working. This buzz for you.
Here's to you. Beechwood age for that clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
Compliments of that gentleman.
This buzz for you.
Nissan's introduced more new cars in a year than anyone in history, plus a whole new attitude.
We got the power to make you move. We make you feel like driving. We make you feel like driving.
They're waiting for you, the wide-open Pulsar NX, the longest wide-body van, and Pathfinder 4x4 of the year.
We make you feel like driving. And the name is Nissan.
For over 20 years, Manufacturers Hanover has been coming through for us. We got the low. We got the low. We got the low. Today, we're a mid-sized company, and they're still committed to helping us grow. With credits and bottom-line ideas like the business manager. It's a cash management and accounting package designed for our size company. Simple, even for me. And they're the only bank that offers it. That's commitment.
Nice, that ours?
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
The Business Manager, another bottom-line idea from Manufacturers Hanover Trust.
Will all those into the taste of the flame-broiled Whopper please signify by raising your right hand or your left. Burger King, the best food for fast times.
And you're looking at some of the celebrities here for this opening day. Benjamin Ward, the police commissioner, along with him, Mayor Koch, Nelson Doubleday, Fred Wilpon, as we get set for the Pirates' 101st opening day game. They are 54-46 in their first 100 seasons. Of those first 100 ball games, 81 of their games have been played on the road. Only 19 have been played in Pittsburgh.
Maybe they're making them pay for Pittsburgh pirating players.
I guess that's right, because that's how they got their name, pirating players from the other league. You got a shot of Bob Patterson warming up in the bullpen. He becomes the third rookie pitcher to start a Pirate opener. Pete Daniels was the Pirate starter back in 1980. And Preacher Rowe, who was such a great pitcher for Brooklyn, gave up 7 hits in the complete game loss to St. Louis in 1944 on opening day. Now the New York Mets have taken the field. Pirates will open up their season at home on Friday when they take on the St. Louis Cardinals. And that'll be a night opener. Pittsburgh playing the first night opening game ever against the St. Louis Cardinals. I was a part of that team. Used to open all the time in the daytime, and back about 1950 they had the first night opener. Now it's not unusual for teams to open at night.
Even in the World Series.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's going to be interesting when they start cutting that one up a little bit. Whether they should play all the games at night in the World Series.
New York Mets. We are making an exception for an exceptional.
So the announcement that Frank Cashin will throw out the first ball over the PA system. And right next to him, Gene Cashin, his wife.
So the Mets, 1986 World Championship year.
He's getting an awful lot of TV time out of this, isn't he?
He certainly is. And a man who's won a world championship in 2 leagues kind of deserves that TV time.
So. Of course, he was with the Baltimore Orioles in their heyday, and he was the general manager when the Mets beat the Orioles in one of the biggest upsets in baseball history back in 1969 in that World Series. Frank doesn't want to talk about that. Mets losing the first game of that World Series and then winning the next 4. Their other World's Championship. So Frank throws out the first ball. Frank likes to play golf and also plays a lot of tennis, so he's in pretty good shape for this sort of exercise.
Yeah, but you criticized his arm last night at the welcome home dinner.
Well, that was different.
He got it to Gary Carter.
Now they got me on record right here. I got to say something nice. So for the Mets, the defense will consist of Keith Hernandez at first base, Tim Tuffle playing second base, Rafael Santana at shortstop. At third base, Howard Johnson. Out in left field, Kevin McReynolds. In center field, Mookie Wilson. And in right field, Darryl Strawberry. The catcher, Gary Carter. And the pitcher, Bob Ojeda. Bob, with a record of 18-5 last year, the best winning percentage in the National League, an earned run average of 2.59. That was second in the National League. Walked just 52 last year, struck out 148, gave up 185 hits in 217 and 1/3 innings. Bob Ojeda on the mound for the Mets, his first opening day start.
And the lineup for the Pirates: Barry Bonds, the center fielder, leading off. Junior Ortiz, the catcher, batting second. Johnny Ray at second base, hitting third. Bobby Bonilla, the left fielder, batting fourth. Andy Van Slyke, a recent acquisition from the Cardinals, hitting fifth. Third baseman Jim Morrison batting sixth. Sid Bream, the first baseman, hitting seventh. Rafael Belliard, the shortstop, hitting eighth. And Bob Patterson on the mound, batting ninth.
So Barry Bonds, the son of Bobby Bonds, to lead it off. Bobby Bonds, a great hitter in the National League. And Barry trying to follow in his footsteps. Last year he hit .223 with 16 home runs, 48 RBIs. His 16 home runs, more than any other rookie. And he had 36 stolen bases. So he, like his dad, a very, very fast runner. And the first pitch of the season for the New York Mets, it's ball one. Bonds this spring hit .242 with 5 home runs, 15 runs batted in, and the strike call. His 5 home runs, tying for the club lead in spring training with Jim Morrison. And just missing with a breaking ball and a count 2 balls and 1 strike. Ojeda, well, I said this is his first season opener. He did have one when he was 12 years old back in 1970 when he opened for the Red Legs of Visalia.
Visalia Red Legs. How about that? His first opening day start since then. That's great.
That year his team was 14-0.
I remember that.
That was a good year, huh? This ball hit high in the air and playable. Gary Carter. And the first out of the season. Picked up by the New York Mets. Their first season out. Of course, there were games played yesterday. In the National League, Cincinnati defeated Montreal 11-5. Eric Davis went 3 for 3 with a home run. Had 2 stolen bases. San Francisco beat San Diego 4-3, and Houston defeated the Dodgers 4-3. Now the batter will be a former Met Junior Ortiz, who hit .336 last year. No home runs, 14 RBIs. He didn't see a whole lot of action with Tony Pena doing most of the catching.
Chances of Junior pulling a ball very slim.
Pulls a little more than he used to, though.
A little bit stronger.
There it is, out the other way. Ortiz, who batted .308 this spring, flies out to right, 2 men away.
Even though a hitter may improve in his strength and his top hand as his years progress, that's a bad combination for as far as pulling the ball, with Ortiz hitting against Ojeda. Ojeda keeping the ball away and Ortiz going the other way most of the time.
Now the batter will be Johnny Ray. Had a fine year last year, hitting .301, 7 home runs, 73 runs batted in. Johnny Ray, a switch hitter and a better hitter from the left-hand side of the plate. And he takes a strike. Ray this spring hit .302 with 1 home run, 10 runs batted in. Tough man to strike out. A year ago, he was the toughest in the league to strike out. Last year, he was the 4th toughest.
And he struck out only 2 times in 74 at-bats in spring training.
1-1 the count as Ojeda, with a record of 62 and 44 lifetime, just does miss with that change of pace, which really does look like a screwball. He says it's not a screwball, but it reacts like one. Moves away from a right-hand batter and down. And there's the off-speed pitch. He can't 2-2. Johnny Ray moving into that 3rd spot in the batting order as you look at Jim Leyland, the manager of the Pirates, his 2nd year. Just did miss, and a full count of 3-2. Ojeda 4-0 against the Pirates last year. And this ball fouled off, so the count will stay at 3 balls, 2 strikes. On deck batter, Bobby Bonilla. And Davy Johnson, the manager of the Mets. He has won more games in his 3 years with the Mets than any manager in the major leagues. And the fastball that time fouled off. Count remains at 3 balls and 2 strikes. And a full house here at Shea Stadium. Beautiful sight.
Not a big surprise either.
No surprise at all. It was sold out about 2 months ago. There are seats available for the next game. There's a base hit to right field as Johnny Ray stays alive by fouling off 2 and then hitting the ball to right field for a base hit. We had the first hit of the game.
That's why Johnny Ray hits .300 and has a lifetime average right around .290, because he can foul off the good pitches, make contact, and to put into play in a good position for a base hit on another tough pitch. Those are 3 tough pitches by Ojeda. He fouled off 2, as you said, and then got the base hit to right.
Bobby Bonilla hit .240 for the Pirates last year with 1 home run, 17 runs batted in. Also was with the White Sox, where he hit .269 in 75 games. This spring he hit .394 with 2 home runs and 20 RBIs. Led the club in runs batted in spring training. Two and 0 the count. Johnny Ray with 6 stolen bases last year, the runner at first. This ball hit out to right. It'll be a base hit. Strawberry fields the wet baseball and gets it back into the shortstop, and the Pirates now have runners at 1st and 3rd on base hits by Johnny Ray and Bobby Bonilla.
The Pirates right fielder, number 7.
A little cue shot by Bonilla on the 2-0 changeup after Johnny Ray hit a ball off the fist, and this often happens early in the year when it's cold. Hitters' bats are too quick, and they hit a lot of balls off the end of the bat. Junior Ortiz did that when he flied to right.
And that'll bring up Andy Van Slyke, the newcomer. Van Slyke hit .270 for the Cardinals last year with 13 home runs and 61 runs batted in. And he did that in spite of the fact that he did not hit left-hand pitching. He's had only 1 home run career-wise against left-hand pitchers. And he has a lifetime average of 195 against left-hand pitching.
And he hit his lifetime average last year against left-handers, 195. But you know, Ralph, guys leave spring training, even though spring training was cooler than normal in Florida this year, and they come up here in this cold weather, and man, you feel like Godzilla, don't you?
You feel strong.
Strong as a bull.
And a good breaking ball by Ojeda, freezing Andy Van Slyke. Van Slyke in the Tony Pena deal. And it's looped down the left field line and curving foul. Pirates going the other way against Ojeda.
Yeah, they've done it. They've done it. Everybody's done it, really. Barry Bonds popping out to Carter in foul territory, and then everybody else going the other way. And a hitter's timing. We mentioned the strength factor. Plus, you're nervous. You're a little quicker. There's a lot of timing to hitting, and it's tough to have good timing in the early going.
You know, even though you're a veteran of Major League play, that opening day is a nervous day.
It is. It really is. And if you weren't nervous, or at least a little nervous, you wouldn't be human.
Something's wrong.
That's right.
You don't have anything. Your elevator doesn't go to the top. 2 strikes to count to Andy Van Slyke. And that one just did miss. Home plate umpire Billy Williams almost started that right arm up.
Watch Billy Williams, the home plate umpire. Watch the right side there. We mentioned hitters are too strong. Whoops. Sometimes that can be said for umpires, too.
1-2. Struck him out. So Bob Ojeda picks up his first strikeout. It comes with runners at first and third as Pittsburgh leaves 2 on 2 hits. And the score after 1/2 ending, the Pirates nothing, the Mets coming up. Now here's a word from the good olds guys.
Take off the car you're wearing. Wear a Sierra from Oldsmobile.
Cutlass Sierra is red hot, and we're going to make it even hotter by having a red hot car sale. Now you can slip into the top-selling car in New York, New Jersey, and Southern Connecticut for a special low price.
Wear a Sierra for less.
The good old guys are designing Cutlass Sierra deals you just haven't heard before.
Wear a Sierra from the good old guys.
Dad,
Mm-hmm.
why is grass green?
Because of chlorophyll, honey.
Dad,
Yep.
is the moon really made of cheese?
Oh, son, the moon is made from molecules.
Dad, the 9X Yellow Pages has always had more information than any competing directory. Why would anyone need another? Dad?
The 9X Yellow Pages. It's the one you've always had. It's the only one you need.
Wednesday at Macy's one-day sale. Save on men's European-style suits, 2 for $300. 50% off selected 14-karat gold jewelry. 30 to 50% off our entire sheet inventory. And 20 to 50% off Expressions, Pace Setter, and Clubhouse sportswear. Special store hours 9 a.m. till 11 p.m. Wednesday at all Macy's in New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey.
We're Macy's, and we're a part of your life.
RC Cola. Some people go out of their way for the taste of it.
Bob Patterson, the pitcher for the Pirates, with a record of 2-3, an earned run average of 4.95. Walked 5, struck out 20, gave up 49 hits in 36 and a third innings last year for Pittsburgh. Bob Patterson on the mound.
And the lineup for the Mets, Mookie Wilson, the center fielder, leading off, followed by Tim Tuffle, the second baseman. Batting third, Keith Hernandez. Catcher, Gary Carter, hitting fourth. Darryl Strawberry in right field, batting fifth. Kevin McReynolds, newly acquired from San Diego, batting sixth and playing left. Third baseman, Howard Johnson, hitting seventh. Shortstop, Rafael Santana, batting eighth. And Bobby Ojeda, batting ninth.
And the defense, Bream at first, Ray at second, Belliard at short, Morrison at third. Bonilla, Bonds, and Van Slyke in the outfield left to right. The catcher, Junior Ortiz, and Patterson on the mound. The leadoff batter for the Mets will be Mookie Wilson. Mookie hit .289 last year with 9 home runs, 45 RBIs. This spring, a wonderful spring, earned him a starting job in center field. Batted .390 with 2 home runs, 7 runs batted in. Of course, his competition for center field, Len Dykstra, and Len hit only .190 this spring with no home runs and 3 runs batted in. Dykstra had been the #1 center fielder for the Mets after a fine year last year.
Yeah, things have kind of flip-flopped as far as Dykstra and Wilson are concerned, because Dykstra picked up the slack when Wilson was hurt last year to open the season at rundown play in spring training, shattering Mookie's glasses. And now the reverse is true this year as Wilson is starting. Competition is healthy, so says Davey Johnson.
And the first pitch by Patterson for ball 1. Mookie with 25 stolen bases last season. And of course, a switch hitter, better hitter from the left-hand side. 1 ball, 1 strike. Back to the middle and a base hit for Mookie.
Well, this is a cut fastball from Bob Patterson. The cut fastball distinguished from the slider in that the pitcher puts a little pressure on the index finger and sails it in on the hands. But Mookie said, you're not getting in my kitchen.
And it brings up Tim Teufel. Teufel hit .247 last season with 4 home runs, 31 RBIs. This spring hit .208 with 1 home run and 4 runs batted in. Mookie a threat to run. No score in the game. And that's ball 1.
Junior Ortiz with the Pirates, as you Met fans know, has a tremendous arm, one of his strongest points. So you can look for a hit and run here, and if Teufel doesn't make contact, look for a strong throw by Ortiz.
Do you think that Ortiz will have a 4-letter word for pitch out?
Clenched hand, huh?
Clenched hand. Great story. Tom Seaver was working with Ortiz on a crossword puzzle, and clenched hand was a question. And there's a ball hit into shallow left field. Coming up on the ball is Bonilla, and he makes the catch.
Yeah, it was a 4-letter word for clenched hand. And of course, the fist is the pitch out. And Tom showed him his fist, and Junior thought, pitch out. Looked like a catcher's interference, speaking of Junior Ortiz.
So it had to be catcher's interference. That means the catcher tipped the bat as the swing was made. Let's take a look at it.
How about this? It's going to be no time at bat, and he certainly hit the thumb, the catcher's mitt. Had that ball been a base hit, of course, the Mets would have had the option of keeping the ball in play. But since the out was made, the Mets have runners at first and second, nobody out. How about that in a hurry?
And an error charge to the catcher, and that happens when a catcher catches up too close to the hitter. So the Mets get a break on the catcher's interference, have runners at first and second, no one out, and Keith Hernandez the batter. Hernandez hit .310 last year with 13 home runs, 83 runs batted in.
Ralph, I've got to say that that's the earliest I've ever seen catcher's interference called.
Earliest in the year. First time this year.
Earliest in the history of the game, probably.
Keith Hernandez this spring hit .286. And it's in the dirt. Good play by Ortiz, Junior Ortiz, to block it and hold the runners. Wilson at second base. Teufel at first.
When I was catching, Ralph, I had that happen at least a dozen times. And about 4 times by Pete Rose.
He does it on purpose.
He does. As a matter of fact, as you saw that nice stop by Ortiz, I think Pete is the all-time leader in hitting a catcher's glove.
Pirates had a fellow that did it pretty well, and that was Yogi Berra's son.
Dale Berra?
Dale Berra. get that catcher up there very close to you, and you can actually do it on purpose. You can take a little longer swing and just catch that glove or part of him.
Well, Pete does it a lot and still does it a lot. With 2 strikes, he just tries to make contact, and when you just try to make contact, you're hitting the ball late in the strike zone, and you kind of drag the bat through, and with runners on base, the catcher's trying to cheat a little farther toward home plate or closer to home plate, trying to get that little extra step and a half or so to throw the runner out, and that's when it usually happens. It's foolish when it happens with no runners on base because there's no sense in staying up that close.
No real advantage. 1-2, and this ball drilled to right, but it's playable. Sliding around in the outfield is Andy Van Slyke, but he makes the catch. Mookie back to second base. Van Slyke, a fine defensive outfielder. He plays quite a few positions. He plays center and right. Also the infield, first and third.
And certainly understandable why Mookie Wilson didn't go to third base. This ball drilled to right field. Van Slyke slips a little bit, but even had Wilson been tagging up, I doubt that he would have gone because of Van Slyke's arm.
So 1 away, runners at first and second, and the batter will be Gary Carter. Carter hit .255 last year with 24 home runs, 105 RBIs to tie a Met record set by Rusty Staub. Most RBIs by any players the Mets have had in their 25-year history, 105. Rusty Staub and Gary Carter. Carter's next RBI will be his 1,000th. Wilson drawing some attention at second base. Tuffle behind him at first, 1 away. No score, just underway. And that sun has broken through, and we have blue skies up above. Little Hoagie Carmichael.
Everyone's in love. All right.
1 strike the count on Carter.
Mets hoping that it won't be a lazy river they flow down this year. Certainly wasn't last year for them.
Carter hit .259 during spring training with 1 home run, 10 runs batted in. And this ball popped up into very shallow left field. Back is Belliard, and he makes the catch. And the runners go back to the respective bases as Carter pops up.
That was a good play by Belliard as Patterson jams Carter with that cut fastball. Now look at the ball. There's really no rotation on the ball. It makes it tougher for a hitter to pick up. And that ball on Carter before he knew it.
So now 2 men out, and Darryl Strawberry the batter. Darryl hit .259 last year, 27 home runs, 93 runs batted in, had 28 stolen bases. Darryl this spring hit .242 with 2 home runs and 8 runs batted in. Led the club in stolen bases with 6. No score. Mets threatening. Bottom half of the first, 2 men away. And the breaking ball, a called strike. Patterson, only the 3rd rookie to ever start a game for the Pittsburgh Pirates, an opening day game. Ortiz comes up with a bouncing ball, holds the runners, 1-1. Mets got Ortiz for defensive purposes. And then he played for the Mets short time, went on back to Pittsburgh. That's got him from the Pirates.
Came over in 1983, June 15th, for Marvell Wynn.
Field, it's way back there. Going, and gone. Goodbye. 3-run home run by Darryl Strawberry, and the Mets lead it 3-0. Well, the Mets leading by a score of 3-0 as Strawberry gets started off on grand style.
After just hitting the corner with the breaking ball, Patterson and Ortiz try to come inside the Strawberry, and he turned that fastball around in a hurry. Awesome. And
Now
it was
the batter-
off a left-hander, too.
That's right.
Ralph.
I was going to say that a little later, that it was off a left-hander. Of course, Strawberry's had trouble with left-hand pitching. But now the batter is Kevin McReynolds, who hit .288 last year with 26 home runs, 96 RBIs for the San Diego Padres.
Dennis D'Agostino informs us that it's the second time that Strawberry has homered in his first at-bat of the season. The last time, April 2nd, against Mario Soto 2 years ago. Make that 1984 in the 8-1 Met loss. Wow.
And that one called a strike, so the count goes to 3-2 on Kevin McReynolds. McReynolds hit .254 during spring training, 1 home run, 6 runs batted in. Got off to a very slow start in spring training, but closed with a rush. Off the hands and a ground ball to third. Jim Morrison picks up the final out of the inning, but the Mets get 3 runs on 2 hits. There was 1 error and no one left on, and the score at the end of 1. It's the Mets 3 and the Pittsburgh Pirates nothing. Now here's a word from American Express.
One word distinguishes the American Express card from the others. Member. And membership has its privileges.
We lost our card, our cash.
Even our passport. You've come to the right place. I can help you.
That's great. That was an easy sale.
No need to wrap it.
I think I can fix it, honey.
That's why I got buyer's assurance.
I left my prescription medicine at home.
Don't worry. Global Assist can help.
No, 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 no. We don't make terror like they do. We don't make stereo like they do. We don't make vacuum like they do. Oh, copiers, just copiers, copiers, just copiers.
Unlike other copier companies, Mita only makes copiers. After all, we didn't get to be the fastest growing copier company by making microwaves. Mita, all we make are great copiers. Call 1-800-ABC-MITA.
Introducing the haves and the have-nots. The haves have flown the Pan Am shuttle and experienced our fast, convenient check-in. The have-nots have not. The haves have enjoyed our courteous, efficient service. The have-nots have not. The haves have been earning miles with us toward free trips to places like Paris, Rome, and Vienna. The have-nots have not. So, there you have it. And there you have not. The Pan Am shuttle. The first choice in shuttles.
Focus on Kim Basinger, Hollywood's hottest ticket. Tonight at 7:30.
Top of the second, the Mets leading 3-0 on Strawberry's 3-run home run. And Strawberry having to acknowledge the crowd, and this is the bench after Patterson had thrown the home run pitch as he talks over the situation to Ortiz. The catcher called for that pitch. That was Strawberry's first home run of the year, obviously. He had 5 home runs against left-hand pitching last year and 22 against right-hand pitching. And now the Pirates take their try, and Jim Morrison bunts a perfect bunt down the left field line for a base hit. So Morrison, who had 23 home runs last year and 88 runs batted in, hitting .274, picks up a base hit on a bunt.
Well, it is just a blueprint down the third base line. No play by Johnson. And a bunt base hit for Jim Morrison.
That'll bring up Sid Bream. Bream hit .268 last season with 16 home runs, 77 runs batted in, acquired from the Dodgers. And he grounds it in the hole for a base hit. Morrison on his way to second is on his way to third, is now stopped. The throw over to third is perfect by Strawberry. Morrison would have been out by 30 feet, but fortunately the third base coach put the stop sign up.
Diving Keith Hernandez, the ball just out of his outstretched glove, and Darryl Strawberry stopping Morrison. We've said so often on our broadcast over the past few years that an outfielder who stops a base runner is usually the most effective outfielder, not the guys necessarily that throw runners out. And that's what Strawberry then did. He stopped Morrison.
I'm amazed Morrison even had an idea about going to third.
But at least he drew a throw.
He sure did.
Sometimes if you draw a throw at second base, so that shortstop creeps up behind you and tags you out.
Now the batter is Rafael Belliard, and he goes after that changeup, and it's strike one.
Here's what Ralph was talking about. Morrison had his mind made up. Whoa, he picks up the coach now. Had Santana been a little closer to second base, he makes the catch and tags Morrison out.
And that throw was a bullet on one bounce to third, a perfect throw. Fourth hit off Ojeda, with no one out here in the second. Mets leading 3-0. One strike count to Belliard, the 8th batter in the batting order. And again, he has a wild swing. Belliard hit .233 last year. No home runs, 31 RBIs. Sam Khalifa did quite a bit of the shortstopping last year, but he's no longer on the roster. Now ball and the count stays at strike two.
One thing we noticed more than any other thing this spring about the Mets outfield play was that Mookie Wilson is probably playing as shallow a center field as we've seen in the last 5 or 6 years.
In Washington, D.C., he played the shallowest left field I've ever seen him play, but he had to.
He had to. It was only 265 down the line.
He was only about 245 from home plate. Been trying to get him to shorten up all the time. Pop up the shallow center. Mookie has an easy play as he's right there. So Morrison back to second base. Green back to first. One away in the pitcher. Bob Patterson is the batter.
Bob Patterson.
That ball had a lot of height on it. Mookie makes that play even if he's a little deeper. I'll tell you, you don't want those little dunkers from the guys who don't have a lot of power to keep dunking them in front of you, especially to center field and the opposite field, because most guys do not have good power the other way or straight away.
Mets looking for the sacrifice. They lead 3-0 early in the ball game, top of the second, and the bunt is out to Hernandez, who has a play at third. He picks it up. So Patterson trying to sacrifice, but Keith right on top of the play and picking up the force.
Well, you wonder when and if the National League, the guys who are bunting in this league, will realize that it's the wrong thing to do to bunt it to this man. Hernandez on top of the ball, an easy play to Johnson at third, and had Johnson immediately thrown to first base, a possibility of a double play, but the hesitation lost that chance.
And of course the sure man is out at third with 2 men away, and a high fly ball to center. Mookie is drifting back, and Barry Bonds is out on the catch. So after back-to-back base hits with no one out, the Pirates do not score and leave 2. And the score at the end of 1.5, the Mets 3, Pittsburgh nothing. Now here's a word from Manufacturers Hanover.
We're Manufacturers Hanover, changing and growing to meet your needs. In Denver, a homeowner buys a lawnmower with the help of our MasterCard. In St. Louis, our investment banking group paves the way for a series of interest rate swaps. In Portland, our CIT Capital Financing Company funds a corporate jet. We're Manufacturers Hanover, and now you know why we're called the financial source worldwide.
We were answering an emergency call for New Jersey Bell Yellow Pages.
They're crawling out of the woodwork.
Termites, sir.
Yellow Pages like these.
Frank?
This guy says his covers a much bigger area.
Sure.
So I say, why isn't it a much bigger book?
And the genuine Yellow Pages from New Jersey Bell. The book your customers buy from. The book that built your business.
So, what do I do with these?
You're the exterminator. Think about it. Don't be fooled. Advertise in the genuine Yellow Pages from New Jersey Bell. We wrote the book.
With every Budweiser enjoyed, the promise endures. The promise of genuine quality. Without compromise, without fail. Beechwood aged Budweiser and Bud Light. Genuine proof that somebody still and always will care about quality. And that is a promise.
Magnum goes pro football but winds up rocking bullets tonight at 6.
Well, we're going now to the bottom half of the second. It was on April 18th, 1950 that Pittsburgh opened up in the first night game in Major League history for opening day. Cardinals won that game by a score of 4-2 on home runs by Musial and Shandes. Staley was a winning pitcher that ball game, and later on the catch for the St. Louis Cardinals in their championship seasons, Tim McCarver.
Thanks a lot, Ralph. Really had to be something down on the field before the game and seeing the guys get the championship rings as you did.
Great thrill. How many of those? You got about
have two.
Two.
Have two. Well, and then I got one as a broadcaster for the Phillies in 1980. So this will be my 4th championship ring with 3 different organizations. I don't really know what that means.
Don't
what
let
they
them
tried
catch
to
up
tell
with
me.
you. Just keep moving, that's all.
Howard Johnson leads it off here in the second. A dramatic 3-run homer by Strawberry in the first inning, and the Mets have a 3-0 lead. Johnson, batting from the weaker right side. He's a much better left-handed hitter. Had 10 home runs last year and only 220 at-bats. So he's got some thump. Fastball inside by Bob Patterson. Popped it up. Junior Ortiz off with the mask. And he makes the catch. One away here in the second inning, and the batter Rafael Santana. Now, if you mentioned the Pirates, and this being their 101st opening day, 81 games on the road, certainly that doesn't favor them. And recently, they have been really running into a buzzsaw on opening day. As a matter of fact, for the 7th straight year, this year, they are opening against a defending champion or a team that's gone on to win a title.
They better check that schedule maker.
I'm telling you. Fastball inside to Santana. Rafi batted .218 last year, but he did have a good spring. Swinging the bat with a lot more authority this spring. He had .313 down in St. Petersburg. Fly ball center field. Barry Bonds makes the catch. 4 pitches, a couple outs here in the second, and the batter Bobby Ojeda.
We're talking about Bobby Ojeda never pitching an opening day game in the major leagues. Had one when he was 12 years old in a little league, but he actually did pitch on opening day in a situation that is really unusual. A doubleheader played on opening day in Baltimore, and he was with the Red Sox then.
Back end of a doubleheader back in 1982 against those Orioles. Fastball is outside.
Pittsburgh's the only team to ever play a triple header. They did that at the end of the season, making up a couple of games that they couldn't get in.
2-0 to Bobby Ojeda.
Back in 1920 on October the 2nd, they played the Cincinnati Reds in a triple header. Reds won the first game 13-4. They also won the second 7-3, and the Pirates won the third game 6-0. Game was called because of darkness.
What else? 3-0 to Bobby Ojeda. Ojeda got his first major league hit against the Pirates last year on April 22nd. Takes a strike. That was when he won his first start in the National League. 18-5 last year. There's a healthy cut, fouls it back. 3-2 to Bobby Ojeda. 3-0. New York leading over the Pirates. A home run by Darryl Strawberry in his first at bat, driving in Mookie Wilson and Tim Tuffle. Ground ball up the middle. Belliard over to cut it off. 3 up, 3 down. Patterson has an easy inning after that 3-run first. He trails 3-0 after 2, and we'll be back after this word from Budweiser.
This goes for all that you do.
minors, you must have called it all 1,000 times, but you never lost sight of the dream.
I got a telegram for you, Tony.
Okay, thanks, Pop. Hi, babe. Hey, guess what? I got the call. Yeah? Leonard Majors.
You got a shot, you'll take it.
What's this, rookie umpire?
You got the heart to make it. You got the fire, that big league desire. You keep on reaching higher. You make America work, and this buzz for you.
Here's to you. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beers.
Hi. Compliments from the gentleman over there.
The brain has two sides, an emotional right and a logical left. The left side knows the Saab 900 is practical. The right side doesn't care. The left side sees safety in Saab's high performance. The right side doesn't care. The left side admires the 56 cubic feet of cargo space. The right side doesn't care. Why not bring both sides of your brain for a test drive in a Saab 900?
Test drive the Saab 900 at your local Saab dealers.
Nobody tells us like the daily news.
It's this world champ's favorite sports section.
Nobody knows us like the daily news.
Jack O'Connell of the Daily News covers the Mets like I cover pop-up. Sometimes better.
Nobody shows it like the daily news. Nobody knows it. Nobody shows it. Nobody tells it like the daily news. Yes. New York's hometown paper.
At Meineke Discount Mufflers,
I'm not gonna pay a lot for this muffler.
you're not going to pay a lot because Meineke's muffler prices range from $18.93 to $26.95 installed.
Junior Ortiz leads it off for the Pirates here in the third, with the Mets leading 3-0. And to show you how strange a game baseball is, the Mets have sent 9 hitters to the plate in 2 innings. The Pirates have sent 10 hitters to the plate, and the Mets lead it 3-0. Swing and a miss, 0-2 to Junior Ortiz.
As Earl Weaver would say, 3-run home runs. That's the way to score.
That beats that bunt, doesn't it?
That's what he says.
The home run by Strawberry in the bottom of the first, and the bunt by Bob Patterson in the top of the second by the Pirates. 1-2.
Pirates have had 2 hits. One of them a bunt. Make that 4 hits, one of them a bunt. Those bunts don't work out too well to score runs.
Not too many bunts go over the fence. 2-2 to Ortiz, who flied to right his first time up. Curveball grounded sharply to short. Santana on the high hop. That ball came up nicely for Rafi. 1 out here in the third, and the batter Johnny Ray.
Stepping up, second baseman Johnny Ray.
Rafael Santana, the steady and reliable shortstop for the Mets. He gets a Hollywood hop, just like they do it in the movies. Pittsburgh Pirates were playing here one time, and they were making the picture Odd Couple with Walter Matthau. And they wanted someone to hit into a triple play, and they went to Roberto Clemente, and he refused to do it for $1,000. He wanted more money if he was going to hit into a triple play. He says, I'm too good to hit into a triple play. So Bill Mazeroski took over the job and did it.
And Johnny Ray just does it, drilling one down the left field line, bobbled by McReynolds, and Ray into second base. We'll see how that's scored.
Well, Johnny Ray, a fine hitter. 300 hitter last year, and a little better hitter from the left-hand side, but here he gets on that pitch by Ojeda and hits it hard into left field. He gets by the left fielder, Kevin McReynolds, and still no posting yet. Puts a runner in scoring position with 1 out.
So it's a double for Johnny Ray, and a fastball to Bobby Bonilla. He singled to right his first time up. That's the 5th hit for the Pirates. They've yet to plate a run, however. And now they plate one. I beg your pardon. Now they put one up. It's a single to left and an error on Kevin McReynolds. 1-1 to Bonilla.
Bonilla had a base hit to right field, a blue pit his first time up. Ojeda now with the off-speed pitch, and you could see the changeup doing its job. Bonilla way out in front with that swing. Fooled completely by the off-speed pitch.
Bonilla, who came to the Pirates for Jose De Leon last summer, led Pittsburgh in hitting this spring. Ball 2, 2 balls and a strike to Bobby Bonilla. Strike 2, 2-2. Bonilla from New York City. He signed with Pittsburgh originally and then was selected by the White Sox in December of 1985 in the Major League Draft. Now he's back with his ball club with whom he signed right through the legs of Rafael Santana. Bonilla, an idea about going to second base. So two very, very costly errors back to back. Had McReynolds come up with it, Santana come up with it, the Mets would be out of the inning with the double play.
That's a routine ground ball. The ball never coming up. Santana coming up too soon with that glove, not keeping it down on the ground. Here he comes up, as you see, and the ball going right underneath the glove. So 2 errors for the Mets in this inning, and the time runs at the plate.
In the person of Andy Van Slyke, he struck out his first time up. 3-0 New York leads, but the Pirates have runners at first and third and 1 out here in the 3rd inning. Swing and a miss. Andy Van Slyke had a .270 for the Cardinals last year. Breaking ball, strike 2. So Van Slyke in the hole.
Van Slyke right near the Hall of Fame. Lives in Utica, New York.
About 30 miles away or so. A little north of Cooperstown. Another curveball, grounded foul. That was a mistake, and Ojeda got away with it.
.1984, Van Slyke hit well against the Mets, hit .347. Here he gets a good pitch to hit, but he's out in front and pulls it foul.
Oh-2 pitch. Got him with the breaking ball. Ojeda has 2 strikeouts, both of them Andy Van Slyke.
And both in big situations with runners at first and third. Right here he throws a hard breaking curveball. He usually goes to the slower type wrap-up curve. Right there, a very good pitch. So Van Slyke has to go back and talk about it.
So Jim Morrison with a bunt base hit his first time up as the batter. Runners remaining at first and third. Now there are 2 outs. Morrison a big year last year. Fastball is high and outside.
Every chance that Morrison's had a chance to play regularly, he's done well. One time with the White Sox and last year with the Pirates.
Batted .300 back in 1981 for the White Sox. Formerly with the Philadelphia Phillies. Changeup popped up.
On April 7th, the battle for the pennant begins at Shea Stadium. And we're ready. We've got the big guns. We've got the heavy artillery. We've got the rockets. And we've got the best manpower support in the game. You helped us get this. Now come out and help us keep it. Let's do it again. 1986 champs. Baseball like it ought to be.
Well, when you're traded from one club to the next, it's interesting. We're going to look at that. But fans, if you want to see the 1987 Mets at Shea this season, take some good advice and buy your tickets in advance. This season promises to be the best ever, so make your plans now in order to get the best seats available. Tickets for all Mets home games are now on sale at all Ticketron outlets. Shea Stadium's advanced ticket window. By mail or call 718-507-TIXX for more information. Let's do it again at Shea this season and catch all the action and excitement of your world champion Mets. It's baseball like it ought to be. Don't forget to get your tickets now. Well, Andy Van Slyke right here is hitting with runners at first and third the second time in this game. He's been traded to the Pirates from the St. Louis Cardinals. The pressure's on, and right here he is struck out for the second time. Now here he is in the dugout after that strikeout, and that's very normal. Andy Van Slyke, a fine ball player.
He certainly is, but I think that's well taken, Ralph, that when you're traded to a new ball club, you know they don't know you. Mookie Wilson on the first pitch gets his second base hit here in the third inning. Keep hitting like that, Mookie will never get traded.
Well, he's been rumored to be traded almost every year, but Mookie keeps showing up and keeps doing well. Second hit of the ball game for Mookie Wilson. He was aboard when Strawberry got his 3-run home run in the first.
And scored the first run of the 1987 season as we take a look at Len Dykstra. Lenny said that if he doesn't start on opening day, he will be upset. And I would imagine he's kept his word. Well, you like to play. Davey makes a comment as you see Tim Tuffle, the batter. Davey says that he thinks that's a healthy attitude when a guy wants to play. I mean, after all, it's their bread and butter.
You bet. Should be upset.
Right.
But you still have to tip your hat to Mookie, who had that great spring training and earned the job back, and now here 2 for 2 in the first game of the season.
Yeah, there's got to be understanding to go along with that competitive desire to play, but sometimes they are not a healthy tandem. Another throw to first, Wilson back in the first inning with Wilson at first base. Tuffle lifted a fly ball to Bonilla in the left, but Junior Ortiz, before he made contact with his bat with his catcher's mitt. It was catcher's interference. No time at bat for Tuffle, an error on Ortiz, and it proved very costly because Strawberry, with 2 out then, hit the 3-run homer. 1-0 to Tim Tuffle. Davey Johnson was not manager of the year in 1986, even though he did win the world championship. That honor went to Hal Lanier of the Houston Astros.
Davey, the winningest manager in baseball over the last 3 years, certainly a candidate for being the best manager in baseball, but he hasn't been selected.
There goes Wilson. Fly ball lifted to left center. Bonilla back, and he makes the catch, running into Barry Bonds in the process. Tim Tuffle gave it a ride to left center, a long out. Wilson scampering back to first, and the batter Keith Hernandez.
Tuffle just missing a home run. Tuffle with 4 last year. This ball carries well out to left center field. Bonilla, not known for being a great fielder, has a problem with it, and then runs into the surer fielder Barry Bonds, the center fielder. Bonilla making the catch, and Mookie back to first.
So 1 out here in the third inning, and the batter Keith Hernandez. Keith hit the ball hard in the first inning, but he lined to Andy Van Slyke in right field. Keith, a good spring. He batted .286 with a couple of home runs. Tight for a ball. Jim Morrison at third base, over towards second, and I'll tell you, Ralph, we have seen Hernandez drill balls down into the third base position many times, especially against a left-handed pitcher.
Well, he's playing him like a left-handed batter that would pull the ball to right, and that's anything but what Keith Hernandez does, and he's too far away from the line for Keith. Keith, of course, an outstanding hitter, and he goes the other way against left-hand pitching.
Curveball in the dirt. Nice play by Ortiz. 2-0 to Keith Hernandez.
Now with a 2-0 count, you might expect him to be a little bit further towards second because Keith might be looking for the long ball here. You have to go. You have to play that position with the count. When you have a 3-2 count or 2-strike count on Hernandez, you got to guard the other way because he hits the opposite field.
Becomes a defensive hitter. Fastball outside and low. So it's 3-0 to Keith Hernandez. 3-0 New York. We're only in the third inning. This game almost an hour old.
That's the Brooklyn Bridge, right? If you believe that, we'll sell it to you.
Bill Webb and his bridges. He's got a thing about that. 3-1 to Hernandez. Wilson back in time. Talked about whether this is a running situation over the years, Ralph, and our opinion is it's not, because you want your hitter to really sit on that one pitch. If the runner's running, it could be a distraction. 3-1 count.
Davey does run a lot on a 3-1 count.
And he's doing it this time. Drilled to left field. Bonilla back. Hernandez has hit it hard 2 times and has nothing to show for it. Wilson back to first. That's a third put out for Bonilla in left field, and the batter's going to be Gary Carter.
Well, Keith has done what all players hate to see happen when you get off at the start of the season. He's hit 2 bullets, and they've both been caught.
And you and I, as hitters, know that they do not even up. You can ask Rusty Staub if they even out when he comes in to join you in the 4th inning. No way they even up. Only pitchers think they even up. Carter flied to left his first time up. Bob Cowboy Patterson on the mound.
Well, that's a record of the Mets against the Pirates last season.
Swing and a miss on the screwball. Patterson's got that little turnover changeup similar to Ojeda.
And that swept the series against the Pirates, the last series of the season, to get to their 108th victories, the most ever in the National League, tying the Cincinnati Reds. In divisional play, that is.
Line to left, base hit for Carter. Patterson tried to come back in with a cut fastball, and Carter greeted him with a base hit to left, and here's Darryl Strawberry.
Well, here is Carter getting his first hit of the season. And he doesn't look like Spalding guy hitting that ball, but he is so strong that he just muscles the ball. Big, strong arms. Gets out of hitting position a lot with his body, gets his weight shifted up ahead of his body, but he can do it with his arms.
Darryl Strawberry did it with his arms and his body in the first inning. A 3-run homer to right center field on an 0-1 fastball. Breaking ball outside. Ralph, if you're up in a situation like this, now you've hit the fastball out of the plate, are you more inclined to look for the breaking ball away?
Well, there's a fastball that Strawberry hit, and it's a high towering drive to right center. And if I were hitting in this spot, I would think I'd never see a fastball again. I just look breaking ball.
I would too. And he got one on the first pitch. We'll see how Patterson works him in pitch 2.
You might see the fastball, but a good pitcher will show it to you, but not in the strike zone.
He just stared off the fastball and went to the breaking ball again. It's 2-0 to Strawberry.
Now you could switch, but I doubt if he'll come back with a fastball in this spot because it's a real hitter's pitch. He throws a good changeup, and this would be a good spot for a change. Did you ever guess changeup?
Yeah. Yeah,
it's unusual to. Very few people do.
He wants something away. It appeared to be a fastball, and it was low. Now, if you're Davy Johnson, do you let Strawberry hit here?
Absolutely.
Darryl looking down to Sam Perlazzo, third base coach.
Everything points to it. There are 2 men outs, so you don't have a lot of outs to work with. You got a 3-0 lead. You're looking for a lot more runs, and you got a power hitter up.
Chance to put the game away. Strike on the outside corner, 3-1.
Carroll didn't look like he was going to be hitting away there. That's giving up too much to a pitcher.
Barry Jones, the young right-hander, warming now for the Pirates. 3-0 New York. 2 on, 2 out. We're in the third. Breaking ball grounded to second. Johnny Ray up with it. He throws Strawberry out. No runs, 2 hits, and 2 left for the Mets. It's 3-0 after 3. Rusty Staub joins Ralph after this word from your Lincoln Mercury dealers.
Excuse me.
Sorry, looks just like mine.
Well, here's my Cougar XR7.
Great cars, aren't they?
I love mine. Don't tell me. Your Cougar?
I always wanted one. Peppy, aren't they?
Sure, V8 engine.
Yeah, of course.
And I love the way it handles.
Yeah, love it.
Well, nice talking to you.
Excuse me? Oh, sorry. Great car. Gotta get one.
New Mercury Cougar, only at your Lincoln Mercury Mercour dealer.
Gotta get one. Hitting home runs is the fun part of my job. Catching is the tough part, the sweaty part. But you won't catch me showering with deodorant soap. I made a break from all that. A clean break with Ivory. Look, that's basic, natural, honest soap. Not like soaps that cover you with smelly perfumes or deodorants. What's that got to do with clean? Ivory's clean is an honest clean. You can smell it, you can feel it.
Make a clean break, because you just can't beat Ivory's Honest Clean.
Even when you got a special date.
On Monday, I want to make the LT.
Jim got Indiana Avenue.
Tuesday, I want a Coca-Cola. Jimmy?
Illinois Avenue.
Oh! The game Monopoly has come to life at McDonald's. Free food, vacations, $1 million. Collect the right game pieces or win instantly.
Today, fries. Jimmy?
Kentucky Avenue.
Oh.
And a Lincoln Town Car.
Do not pass go. Go directly to McDonald's.
Charlton Heston fights to the finish as Ben-Hur, tonight at 9.
Well, we're going to the top of the fourth. The Mets leading by a score of 3-0. And we'd like to welcome to the booth Rusty Staub. And Rusty, those line drives for you always seem to even up. Those bloopers came in there to even up those line drives that were caught.
And all I can tell you, Ralph, is that as you see some of the astute writers following the New York Mets, in my career, all I can tell you is any good hitter, if it evens up, it must be in the second life. The good Lord must help us somewhere down the line. A lot of us do.
We all got something coming, huh? Well, we're going now to the top of the fourth. The Mets leading on Strawberry's 3-run home run, and Sid Bream, who singled on his first pitch of the year, batting for the second time. Bream had a fine year last year. Takes the first pitch, strike one. Bream hitting .268 with 16 home runs, 77 RBIs. Carlisle, Pennsylvania. And Bob Ojeda, who's been reached for 5 hits in this ball game, out in front with a 2-strike count to Sid Bream.
Last year, Bream struggled a little bit, Ralph, against left-handed pitching. Certainly jumped on that first pitch from Bobby Ojeda.
Hard smash at Tuffle. Can he get him? He can. Well, Tuffle tried to block the ball, but it rolled too far away. That was not an easy chance, and the Mets have already made 2 errors. This could be their third.
Well, this is a line shot. Hits just in front of him and comes up on him, hits him right in the chest. When a ball's hit that hard and it comes up that high, that's an extremely difficult play.
So a runner on with no one out, and it brings up Rafael Belliard, the shortstop. Belliard flied out to center field his first time out, but they're scoring that a hit. That was a tough chance. I'd give him E for effort on that.
That ball could have killed him, man.
That's right. He got in front of it, but that's all he could do. Tough chance.
Definitely have a dot on his chest when he gets home tonight.
Got the president of the National League right across his chest. Art Giammardo. This could be a double play. Perfect throw to Santana. Then on to Hernandez, and Sid Bream is erased on the Mets' first double play of the year.
Well, Bobby Ojeda, a fine fielding pitcher, grabs that, Gives the perfect throw to Rafael Santana and a good turn. All those hours in spring training may be paying off, Ralph.
That was done well, and of course the key to it's a good throw by the pitcher, and there's something that's more important than that, and that's knowing who's covering. A lot of times the pitcher forgets who's covering at second and makes the throw, say, to the other man that he thought was covering, then it's a bad throw.
Keeping your composure on the mound is a big part of it. Some of the younger pitchers who really have not gained that composure kind of forget who's supposed to be there, and that's a problem.
And it does change with the pitches. This is Bob Patterson, and the ground ball for Tough only makes the play. So in the inning, the base hit, the double play, no one left. The score at the end of 3.5. The Mets 3, the Pirates nothing. Now here's a word from New York Telephone.
Wall Street makes the money, Soho makes the art. But there's more. You need a Broadway critic now to tell the two apart. But every New York citizen can see just as clear. As the east side and the west side are so far and yet so near. Nothing's more New York. Rap and tap and what can happen, name it and it's yours.
At New York Telephone, we know our public phones are a part of every New Yorker's life. So 24 hours a day, they're ready and waiting with reliable operator and directory service. We think our public phones should be just as good as the people who use them.
Nothing's more New York than New York Telephone. Public phones.
Who do you like?
Well, I like the 1A horse with Robbie Davis up. Let's ride! Let's go! Come on! Let's ride!
When you can't get to the track, let OTB put you there. At OTB, you can see live races or hear live calls at every branch.
Oh, what a race!
Thank you.
New York City OTB, changing for the better.
At Meineke Discount Mufflers,
I'm not gonna pay a lot for this muffler.
you're not going to pay a lot because Meineke's muffler prices range from $18.93 to $26.95 installed.
Well, we're going to the bottom of the 4th inning. The Mets leading 3-0 on Strawberry's 3-run home run back in the first. And for the Mets, the leadoff batter will be Kevin McReynolds.
Ralph, I think we've had a change at shortstop. Onyx Concepcion. Oh, it's just a new number, they say now. He changed numbers. He
can't do that.
That is Bellinger. He changed numbers?
Maybe he tore up his shirt when he was going in the second on that double play.
I don't know. He's got the same little thing wrapped around his arm, it seems.
At opening day, they're going to switch uniform numbers on you. Sleight of hand, huh?
Well, a couple of the Mets changed their numbers coming into this game. Sid Fernandez moving from 10 in spring training to 50.
Leading off the bottom half of the 4th inning.
It's 38. Rafael Belliard on the double play.
So he's still in his uniform and still in his position, and we're still in the 4th as the Mets come up here with Kevin McReynolds to lead off. McReynolds grounded out the third his first time up. Mets have 3 runs on 4 hits. The Pirates have no runs on 6. The Mets have made 2 errors. The Pirates have made 1. And the first pitch fouled off. The Pirates are a big part of the ball game, and it was a rather unusual error. With a runner at first, Mookie Wilson had singled to center. Tim Tuffle hit a fly ball that appeared to be out as he flied out to left, but on the swing, Junior Ortiz tipped his bat, so it was catcher's interference and error charge to the catcher. And that put runners at first and second as Tuffle got first base on that play, and then the 3-run home run by Darryl Strawberry after 2 men were out. So that has been the big play of the game so far. And there's a screwball hit down to third. Morrison fights it off and throws him out. Good play by Jim Morrison as he was sort of fighting for his life out there, trying to stay alive.
Coming around to the plate.
We're going to get a look at Kevin McReynolds, kind of an upright stance. Out after that ball. The ball seemed down and away from him. You saw him reach for that ball a little bit. ball sinking away from him. Kept it on the ground. Ralph, I remember at one time they used to call that a hit if there was interference by the catcher. I know when I was in school they did that, because a guy that went to school with me got 7 hits one year on what is now called catcher's interference.
You were playing Catholic rules.
That's it. The Jesuits made their own rules.
That's right. Howard Johnson, the batter. Howard fouled out his first time up. There have been a lot of differences in rules over the years. One time you had 5 balls for walks instead of 4.
Howard Johnson trying to repay Morrison with a little fake bunt after Morrison dropped that bunt down on him for a base hit his first time up. Hojo gave him a little deke.
And that ball fouled over to the third base side. Pirates have lost a lot of games over the last 3 years. They have finished last 3 consecutive years. I'm hoping with this young ball club that they will get it going. They have certainly dismantled their high-paid players, sent them on the way, and have gone with younger players.
And I know one thing they've done that is definitely, I don't know if it's going to help them win any ball games, but it certainly makes their appearance on the field look a lot better. Changing from those old style hats and batting helmets that they had. These new hats, these dark hats, it looks like it's a really quality Major League uniform again.
Yeah, they used the old 1890 uniform hats for years. Yeah. Only 2 players on the Pirates still with them that were there a few years back. Johnny Ray, who was acquired from Houston, and Robertson, the pitcher. 3-2 to Howard Johnson.
Well, I would think at this time Pittsburgh Pirates have to look toward the future. They had some people that were very unhappy playing in Pittsburgh who were making a lot of money. They decided if they're going to be unhappy, we'll get some people who are happy to play here.
This one will be out of play. Well, let's see. Bill Matlock is gone. John Candelaria is gone. Steve Kemp is gone.
Al Holland was with this ball club, too.
Al Holland. Rick Rhoden finally traded off.
Got rid of a ton of people.
It's a great story on Rick Rhoden. And it has to do with Tony Pena. Whitey Herzog was talking with Sid Thrift, who is a general manager of the Pirates, and he said, I want to start talking to you now because you take so much time in making deals. And he's talking about last December. He says, I might be fired by the time I make a deal for Tony Pena.
Start early.
So they finally made the deal for Pena right at the 1st of April.
Shortstop.
So Johnson picks up a walk. That puts a runner on with 1 out and brings up Rafael Santana. Whitey Herzog was talking about the fact that it took Sid Thrift 9 months to trade Rick Rhoden off the ball club, so he wasn't too sure he could make a deal for Tony Pena. Rhoden had declared last year in spring training he didn't want to stay with the Pirates, but he pitched the whole year with the Pirates last year, and then now is with the Yankees. 0-1.
There's no doubt the future is a little bit down the line for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Their organization making some major decisions, and I think right decisions, Frank. Excuse me, there's no Frank here in his booth, is there?
No, but you know, I have more people call me Frank than Ralph. Must be my honest expression, right? Round ball to short.
Honest Frank.
So Rafael Santana grounds out. He's now 0 for 2 on the play. Johnson running with the pitch, moves down to second in scoring position, and it brings up the pitcher, Bob Ojeda. Ojeda grounded out his first time up.
Bobby Ojeda spent some extra time in the batting cage as often as possible, trying to improve his ability at the plate, having been in the American League for quite a while, not having an opportunity to hit. Trying to work on his ability to help himself in these situations.
When he came to the Mets last spring, he had not hit in 8 years. The last time he'd batted had been in high school.
Bobby Ojeda got his gloves on, a little bit choked up.
He's got a little protection there for his hand, too, hasn't he?
He's got a lot of protection for his hands.
Not a bad hitter for a pitcher. You have to throw in that for a pitcher in there.
He's
but
a good
he did play
athlete.
first base and outfield when he was in high school. Well, that breaking ball won't make you hit.
He hasn't had too many good cuts at those good hooks. The old equalizer. Here it comes. Oh, Mom. Look what they're doing to me, Mom.
Good pickup on the ball by Junior Ortiz.
It's about the 6th or 7th time in this game that Junior Ortiz has done an outstanding job of picking the ball up in the dirt.
Good swing at the fastball there.
Yeah. He's going to have some good hacks at the heat. The infield playing extremely deep. The outfield, particularly in left and center, playing in shallow. Right fielder's giving him a little room, though, Ralph.
Oh, there's that curveball again, and that'll do it. So the strikeout ends the inning. The first strikeout for Patterson. Mets had a walk in the inning, left the runner, and the score at the end of 4. The Mets 3 and the Pirates nothing. Now here's a word from the good olds guys.
Take off the car you're wearing. Wear a Sierra from Oldsmobile.
Cutlass Sierra is red hot, and we're going to make it even hotter by having a red hot car sale. Now you can slip into the top-selling car in New York, New Jersey, and Southern Connecticut for a special low price.
Wear a Sierra for less.
The good old guys are designing Cutlass Sierra deals you just haven't heard before.
Wear a Sierra from the good old guys.
Back to our game. Kids, what's the molecular weight of glutamic acid?
147 Daltons.
Wilton had it. In Haydn's Symphony number 11,
B-flat.
to the tiebreaker. The 9X Yellow Pages has always had more information than any competing directory. Why would anyone need another? Kids?
The 9X Yellow Pages. It's the one you've always had. It's the only one you need.
Look at Snoopy. He's in training again. He's working like a dog, sir. But why? Because everyone at MetLife wants to meet customer expectations. And then go that one extra mile. I've never seen him run so fast.
It must be his commitment to high quality, sir. Besides, there's a new cat next door.
Get Met. It pays.
Carol's wild behavior backfires tonight at 11.
Well, a full house here today on opening day at Shea Stadium. The Mets leading 3-0. We're going to the top of the 5th inning. And if the ring fits, wear it. And the Mets got their World's Championship rings here today in the opening day ceremonies.
That'll be a thrilling thing. We were talking early before the game started. I wonder how many guys have that ring on the bench, taking a look at it now and then.
So you don't want to let that thing get out of sight. It's pretty good honor right there. First pitch as Ojeda pitches to Barry Bonds, fouled off, strike 1. Here's a comparison of the pitchers of the two opposing pitchers today. Patterson was 60 pitches to 54 for Ojeda. Patterson wilder, as you can see. Ojeda on top of the ball game, 3-0. And Barry Bonds takes in the count, 1 ball, 1 strike. Barry Bonds with 3 leadoff home runs last year, following in the footsteps of his daddy, who had 11 one season, which is the all-time record. 35 in his career. Those guys that get those leadoff home runs are sitting on that fastball, boy. You can bet on that.
Well, that certainly was not a get-on-base kind of swing. Looked like he was trying to hit that Budweiser sign out there.
He's a good prospect, this boy. His dad, Bobby Bonds, the hitting instructor for the Cleveland Indians, and the man who holds the record for the most strikeouts in a single season, 189. Boy, good breaking ball, just did miss, 2-2. Barry Bonds Had a good rookie year, not a great one, but a good one. He only batted .223, but he hit with power, and he had 36 stolen bases. High fly ball to left field. Kevin McReynolds is there.
Ralph, he kind of actually has the same problem his father did. I guess his father worked a lot on his aggressiveness at the plate, but he struck out about 102 times last year. Exactly.
Then you're saying strikeouts are hereditary.
Well, I know one thing. They're running in the family.
Speaking of running, they both can run.
They fly.
That brings up Junior Ortiz. Ortiz 0 for 2, flat out to right, grounded out to short. Batted .336 last year, but didn't see a whole lot of action.
Bobby Bonds was in the 30-30 club. Has anybody ever been in the 40-40 club?
He just missed it. He's the closest ever. He had 39 home runs and over 40 stolen bases.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's
ever done 40-40. Fellow over there in Cincinnati might do it.
Yeah.
He had a home run in the opening day game, and we're talking about Eric Davis, who had 80 stolen bases last year and a potential 40 home run hitter.
Everybody certainly feels that Darryl Strawberry could put it all together. Darryl Strawberry's a contender for that.
Two balls, now 3. Ortiz followed by Johnny Ray. Mets leading 3-0. In a very slow-paced ball game. A lot of action in this game, but not moving very quickly. And that's ball 4, and that's Ojeda's first walk. And you look for little signs like wildness to indicate tiredness. And of course, no pitcher on the Mets staff has gone 9 innings this year.
They certainly have not, Ralph. A guy like Bobby Ojeda, the indications normally are his breaking ball is up, his fastball is up. A little inconsistent with his strikes. One batter doesn't make it, but that was not a good bat.
And the first pitch to Johnny Ray, a ball. Johnny Ray with a single to right and a single to left. Tough man to strike out.
He only struck out 2 times, Ralph, in all of spring training and over 70-something at bats.
And the fastball fouled into the stands, 1-1.
And is perennially one of the guys most difficult to strike out in the big leagues.
He was the toughest to strike out 2 years ago. And last year, he struck out only 1 time in an average of 14 at bats. He was 4th in the National League. Ozzie Smith, the toughest to strike out in the National League last year, striking out once every 22.6 at bats. Of course, what happened to him, Rusty, they moved him from a second place spot and a first place spot in the batting order to third, and you got to swing harder there, and you're going to strike out more. Got to get the extra base hit batting third.
It'll be interesting to see how he handles that third slot. Sometimes that's not so easy for a guy who is used to trying to get on base to try to become that RBI producer. But Johnny Ray is such a fine hitter, I'm sure he's going to find a way to handle it.
Right back to the mound, another chance for 2. Not a good throw, but picked up in time by Santana, and the throw on to first for the double play. So the Mets turn their second double play. Their second in the last 2 innings. No runs, a walk, no one left to score at the end of 4 1/2. The Mets 3 and the Pirates nothing. Now here's a word from Budweiser.
Bud Thunder. It's revved up and coming at you.
Introducing the haves and the have-nots. The haves have flown the Pan Am shuttle and experienced our fast, convenient check-in. The have-nots have not. The haves have enjoyed our courteous, efficient service. The have-nots have not. The haves have been earning miles with us toward free trips to places like Paris, Rome, and Vienna. The have-nots have not. So, there you have it. And there you have not. The Pan Am shuttle. The first choice in shuttles.
America speaks out for Chevrolet.
Performance. That's something I know a thing or two about. And so does your Chevrolet dealer. Nobody has a better choice of performance cars. And every one the most affordable in its class. Cavalier Z24, the all-new Beretta GT, IROC Camaro, Monte Carlo SS, and the world-class Corvette. And all at one place, your Tri-State Chevy dealer.
Jennifer's beauty lures a maniac to murder today at 5.
Well, for the first time this year, we'd like to remind you this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Mets and WRTV and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets and WRTV is prohibited. I'd like to remind you our next broadcast on WRTV will be Friday night when Sid Fernandez will be on the mound. We'll be on the air at 7:30.
David Palmer is supposed to be the pitcher for the Atlanta Braves that night. A guy who is, as a 19-year-old pitcher with the Montreal Expos, was one of the finest young pitchers. I think the best 19-year-old pitcher. I'm not saying throw. I think Dwight was outstanding as a 19-year-old, but he was the most professional 19-year-old pitcher I had ever seen since Larry Durker, who was one heck of a pitcher.
Larry Durker with the Houston Astros. And now we look at Mookie Wilson batting for the third time. Mookie has singled to center and singled to right. He has scored 1 run. The Mets leading 3-0 on Strawberry's 3-run home run in the first. And Bob Patterson with an off-speed pitch in the count 1-1.
Well, except for that one pitch to Darryl Strawberry, Bob Patterson's looked very good out here today, Ralph.
Patterson to the Hawaii last year 9-6, and with the Pirates he was 2-3. This ball grounded foul, so it's 1-2.
In 1986, Ralph, Patterson led the Pacific Coast League in strikeouts, was third in earned run average, named a left-handed pitcher in the league. So he had an awfully fine season down in AAA.
How'd you like to be with a club that has a AAA farm club in Hawaii as Mookie gets out for the first time, now 2 for 3 as he's called out on strikes.
Bob Patterson delivering a fastball just out over the outside part of the plate, down around the knees. Excellent pitch.
So 1 away, and Tim Tuffle the batter. Tim flied out the deep left in the third. And a strike call. Tuffle.
As you see, the Mets outscored their opponents by a total of 205 runs last year.
In this ball game, they're leading 3-0. 1-1. The count to Tim Tuffle.
Did you ever play in that ballpark in Hawaii, Ralph? Have you ever seen that?
I played in the old ballpark. But the one that's on the water that floats, that's the fly ball to center field. Barry Bonds picks it up, and 2 men out, and that brings up Keith Hernandez, who's hit it hard twice and has come up empty.
It's like the good news, bad news joke. First, the good news, you're going to get a trip to Hawaii. Second, unfortunately, you're not going to be in the big leagues.
Yeah, it's a minor league city. Not as a city, it's not, but it's a minor league team. Let's put it that way. Great city, Oahu. Although when I was stationed there, I didn't think it was that great. It does change a little bit when you're in the service there. Keith Hernandez, a .310 batter last year. The year before that, he hit .309, a consistent 300 hitter in the major leagues. And that's ball 1.
Keith Hernandez took great pride in 1986 when he hit better against left-handed pitching average-wise than he did against right-handers by a few points.
There's one that'll be in front of a fielder for a change. Keith now has hit 3 line drives, and that's his first hit. Boy, he's had 3 bullets in this game off the left-hander.
He certainly has. That kind of a cut fastball, but it stayed out over the plate. And as you said, Ralph, he hit it extremely hard. And if that ball would have actually carried to the right fielder, that would have been a tough first day already.
I wouldn't want to be around Keith.
You might have to tell him to get his own ride home.
That brings up Gary Carter. Gary with a base hit his last time up, 1 for 2 today. Looking for his 1,000th RBI. He has 999 in his major league career. Had 105 RBIs last year to tie a Met record. And the fellow who held that record all by himself for a long time, sitting right next to me, Rusty Staub. There's the off-speed pitch down to third. Good backhand play by Jim Morrison, and he picks up the final out of the inning. So no runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left on base. And the score at the end of 5. The New York Mets 3, the Pittsburgh Pirates nothing. Now here's a word from Manufacturers Hanover.
Financial opportunity. For the swift and sure, the rewards have never been greater. We're Manufacturers Hanover. We keep your business on the cutting edge of financial opportunity. From cash management systems to financial engineering, we can tailor a strategy with vision to move your business toward its financial goals. Consider the source. Manufacturers Hanover. The financial source worldwide.
And this is our new Honda Accord LXI. So this is the new LXI, huh? Very impressive. 2-liter 12-valve engine, fuel injection, variable assist power steering. Alloy wheels, P18570R13 Michelin radials, 4-wheel double wishbone suspension. And look, a rear stabilizer bar. Plus power moonroof, air conditioning, cruise control, full logic stereo, even power windows and door locks. Okay, you talked me into it.
Honda, the car that sells itself. At your New York, New Jersey, Connecticut Tri-Honda dealer.
Once guys try the 24-hour protection of Old Spice Solid, they may give up their usual antiperspirant mid-stick.
Your dad only used twice. Very short strokes.
Fact is, none of these solid antiperspirants help stop wetness as well as Old Spice Solid. These deodorant sprays can't block odor better than Old Spice Stick. So switch now.
Sarge, for you. Hardly used.
Kind of like your comb.
Switch to 24-hour Old Spice, antiperspirant or deodorant.
No matter how careful you are, how safe, it all comes down to this. When you hit the brakes, they have to stop more than a ton of moving car. So when your brakes aren't right, put them in expert hands. Mitasize them. We don't miss a thing. We fix them right the first time. That's why Midas can guarantee its brake shoes and pads for as long as you own your car. It may be the most important guarantee you'll ever get. Mitasize it. Get it right the first time.
Well, we are back in the booth, and our colleague Steve Zabriskie is joining us now. How you doing, Steve?
Great, Russ. Thank you very much. Who could not love opening day? Especially when it looked as if there was some chance that all that water that New York has been experiencing for the past week would continue and things would be threatened. But so far, no delays, no problems. As Bob Ojeda gets a strike on Bobby Bonilla. Bonilla with a single to right, and then he reached on an error on Santana in the third. So officially 1 for 2. 3-0 New York as we go to the top of the 6th inning. Off speed again, but this time it's low, and it's 1-1.
Steve, I don't know how the field is down on the field because I didn't walk on the field earlier today. But it certainly looks pretty from up here in the booth, and I'm sure it looks very good on the screen to you fans.
Pete Flynn and the guys have it in great shape. The only real problem that I've noticed is, as usual, there is a big puddle of water in short right field because of the manner in which they remove the tarp. The water that's on the tarp always gets dumped in right field.
That's by law. They always dump it on the right fielders.
Swing and a miss, and you saw Ojeda turn that pitch over as he is wont to do, and it's now 2-2 to Bonilla.
The famous dead fish pitch.
Boy, it is too, isn't it? And that one's low and away, so a full count.
I was talking to Ralph between innings. I just really don't know of another pitcher that seems to get people out as easily as Bobby Ojeda.
With the least amount of effort. Fastball grounded to Santana, who gets one of those room service hops. And there's one out here in the 6th inning.
Now we're going to have a little look at the Nissan scoreboard in the National League in the 3rd inning. The Cubs are ahead of the Cardinals 3-0. All the other games are at night. The Phillies in Atlanta, Dodgers in Houston, and the Padres in San Francisco tonight.
And we'll check out the American League, although there's not much happening in the other circuit in just a little while. Andy Van Slyke's had a tough debut in a Pirate uniform. Ojeda has struck him out twice. Those are the only 2 strikeouts Ojeda has recorded so far. Both times, runners were at first and third. There's a fastball on the outside corner for strike 1, and it's 1-1. Van Slyke talking before the opener about the fact that he does not yet feel very comfortable in Pittsburgh, or at least playing for the Pirates. He probably hadn't even been to Pittsburgh yet. On a line to Strawberry, who can't come up with it. And Van Slyke, who runs very well, may try to go to third, and he will. So we'll see how it's scored as Strawberry went for the diving attempt in the wet grass, and the ball skidding under his glove. And before he could retrieve it, it will be a base hit, and Van Slyke will be at third base with a triple.
Stepping up, third baseman, Jim Morrison.
He certainly reaches out over the plate on that fastball. Everybody kind of winced a little bit here, remembering back a couple of years when Darryl Strawberry dove for a ball and really hurt his hand and wrist. Ball just getting underneath his glove. It's usually a little more difficult, Steve, when you're going across your body trying to make a catch. That's when you normally hurt yourself, hurt your hand or your wrist.
Yeah, because you have to turn that wrist over so much. Jim Morrison 1 for 2, had a bunt base hit in the second and flied to shallow center in the third. Van Slyke at third with 1 out. His base hit, the 7th for the Pirates, who have yet to score. And a line drive, base hit to left, and the Pirates do score, as here in the 6th inning it is 3-1 as Van Slyke plates the first Pittsburgh run of the season, and Morrison picks up his first RBI.
An off-speed pitch, up and out over the plate. Morrison just jumped all over that pitch. Mid infield was playing deep then, conceding a run through the middle, trying to stop some type of a rally. But Morrison hit that ball so well, carried right into left.
Sid Bream is 2 for 2. And he takes strike 1. He singled in the second and singled in the fourth. And intently studies Gene Lamont, the Pittsburgh third base coach. No balls, 1 strike. And a breaking ball for strike 2.
You see a big curveball from Bobby Ojeda, the big slow one. We've talked about the 2 different curveballs he throws. That was the off-speed curveball.
And outside for ball 1, 1-2. Hernandez is semi-holding Morrison at first base, as with Bream, a left-handed pull hitter at the plate. Keith wants to be able to get back into his position as quickly as possible, and Morrison not expected to be running. So Keith will hang in between Morrison and the bag and then drop back very quickly. And Ojeda makes it a moot point as he strikes out Sid Bream, picking up his 3rd strikeout of the ball game. And Morrison at first now with 2 away for Rafael Belliard.
You're going to see that off-speed breaking ball again, thrown to appear to be a strike outside the strike zone as it crosses the plate. And Sid Bream could not hold up on his swing. That is the most frustrating thing that can happen to a left-hander against a left-hander.
As you should well know, right?
I have done it many times.
Belliard trying to bunt his way on with 2 out, fouls it back, and it's strike 1. Belliard has flied to shallow center and hit into a double play. The Mets have turned 2 double plays in the game, and both have been started by Bob Ojeda on bouncers back to the mound. Belliard hit well against the Mets last year for Pittsburgh as Morrison draws the throw. Belliard hit .296 against New York, but only .233 overall. The fastball is popped up in the infield. Santana calling for it, and on the grass takes it for the final out. But the Pirates get on the board with 1 run on 2 hits. And after 5.5 here on opening day at Shea, it's now New York 3, Pittsburgh 1. And we're back after this word from Nissan.
Four by fours came in lots of shapes and sizes this year, but only one was named Best 4x4 of the Year. Nissan Pathfinder, honored by both four-wheel and off-road and four-wheeler magazines.
Best of the year in on- and off-road performance.
Best of the year for interior comfort and function. Award-winning ride, toughness, and style found in Pathfinder and every 4x4 we make. The 4x4 of the year is Pathfinder. The name is Nissan.
It was so simple. Really, a direct electrical charge here heats up the carbonized filament here, which in turn excites the gases trapped in here, and voila!
Well, it's very nice, Thomas, but I wanted a Bud Light.
If you want the great taste of Bud Light, ask for it.
Don't feel bad, Thomas. It's not a complete loss.
Bud Light, because everything else is just a light.
I was heading for work at New Jersey Bell Yellow Pages when...
Joseph!
Yes, ma'am.
How many kinds of yellow pages do you people think I need?
Just one, ma'am.
So what are these?
They're not the genuine Yellow Pages from New Jersey Bell.
Oh, the one I've been shopping with for years.
Yes, ma'am.
First place I look for everything I need.
Yes, ma'am.
So then I'll stick with my yellow pages and they...
Yes, ma'am.
Don't be fooled. Use the genuine Yellow Pages from New Jersey Bell. We wrote the book.
Focus on Kim Basinger, Hollywood's hottest ticket. Tonight at 7:30.
Bob Patterson will more than likely be working his final inning for the Pirates here in the bottom of the 6th, as he is scheduled to lead off the top of the 7th in the batting order for Pittsburgh. But he has pitched very well, Russ. He's only given up 5 base hits. Although the Mets lead the ball game 3-1, Patterson has struck out 2 and walked 1 through his first 5 innings of work.
Well, that one fastball to Darryl Strawberry, as you see Straw coming up to the plate again, was the one pitch that I'm sure he would like to take back right now. Fastball out over the plate, and Strawberry hit it a ton.
Darryl lost it for him at the base of the scoreboard over the 396 sign, accounting for all 3 New York runs back in the first inning. It came with 2 out. And Wilson and Tuffle scored ahead of Strawberry. The Pirates adding a run in the top half of this, the 6th inning, to make it 3-1 as Strawberry looks at ball 1. Darryl grounded to second his other time up. And then he pops it in the air to center field. Bonds doesn't have far to go, and there's 1 away.
That's the one pitch that Darryl Strawberry, I think down the line, is going to learn to really handle well. The curveball at him breaking across the plate. It's a good pitch to hit right here. He reaches out just a little bit. You can just watch his hands here now. He just kind of extends, and then all of a sudden he has to reach for it. A lot of times people start him off, left-handed pitchers, throwing that curveball at him over the plate for a strike, and eventually he's going to learn how to handle that ball well.
McReynolds driving one deep to right, but it's tracked down on the warning track by Andy Van Slyke. Kevin McReynolds, a notorious slow starter at the plate his first few years in the big league, took a charge in this one.
Patterson throws him a fastball out over the plate. He goes with it, hits it extremely hard, but Van Slyke is playing him deep and cut the gap off.
So quickly 2 out here in the 6th, and the batter Howard Johnson, who is 0 for 1. Hojo popped out to Ortiz in foul territory in the 2nd, and he walked in the 4th. Fastball foul tip into the mid of Ortiz for strike 1. Johnson, the first 3 quarters of spring training, was hot as a firecracker, and then he suffered a little hip flexor muscle injury. It's almost like a hip pointer that you might get in football, and it sort of curtailed his swing a little bit. He tailed off statistically for the last 4th or so of spring training, and it may still be affecting him to a certain degree, if not physically, certainly in the fact that he had to be frustrated that he was getting a stroke down, and then all of a sudden had to lose it for a while.
When that, as everybody terms it, when the bell rings, everybody is always anxious to get that first hit and get that first good swing in.
And Johnson striking out to end the inning. So Patterson, in his final inning of work, probably making it a strong one with 3 up and 3 down and a strikeout. After 6 here at Shea, 3-1 New York. We're back after this for Michelob.
So exceptionally smooth. The night belongs to Michelob.
If you own a wagon and figured you just had to sacrifice style, don't look now.
What kind of a wagon is that?
Dad, it's a Sable wagon.
If you have a standard family sedan but didn't get V6 power standard, don't look now.
What kind of car is that?
The New York Mets trying to make it 16 out of 18 of their last opening day victories. And John Cangelosi will pinch hit for Bob Patterson, leading off the 7th inning for Pittsburgh. Cangelosi was with the Chicago White Sox last season, where he hit .235 and had 2 homers and 32 RBIs.
In spring training, he hit .273, Steve. He's known for his speed. Pretty good defensive outfielder.
Number 22, John Cangelosi.
And he's going to have his first at bat, I imagine, in the National League right now.
That is correct. Cangelosi, a switch hitter, hitting right-handed against Ojeda. And he takes the ball outside. Cangelosi, a definite base stealing threat if he gets on. The Pirates are down by 2 runs here in the 7th. And it's ball 2. There were those who felt that Cangelosi, after coming over to the Pirates, would be in the opening day starting lineup for Pittsburgh, but he was not. There's strike 1, 2-1.
This is about as long as any pitcher in the Mets staff has gone into the 7th inning all spring.
That's right. 6 was about the max. So I'm sure Mel Stottlemyre and David Johnson will be watching Bob Ojeda very closely. No one has been warming up in the New York bullpen as yet. And it's 3-2 now to John Cangelosi.
I'm sure that they talk a lot to Bobby Ojeda and ask him how he actually feels, because it's very difficult to tell if he's tired.
It's true. Not that type of pitcher. Right back at him, and a line drive snared for out number 1. And what an athlete Bob Ojeda is. He's already started 2 double plays and flags down this bullet.
And he throws him a good fastball out over the plate. Cangelosi stays right there with it, right back through the middle. And Bobby Ojeda just snagged it and said, thank you. It's always good when it's kind of up and away from your head a little bit.
Yes.
That one right at you when you're falling into it, that's difficult.
So Barry Bonds will bat and take strike 1. Bonds is 0 for 3. He's popped out in foul territory to Gary Carter. He fly deep to center. And his last time up in the 5th, he flied out to shallow left. 1 out and nobody on, and New York leading 3-1. Ripped down the right field line and foul. John McSherry making the call, and Barry Bonds stopping in disbelief as he thought it hit right on the line.
And I'll tell you what, that's a close call right here. Well, it looks like it might have hit just on the outside. That is such a McSherry's the umpire, John McSherry.
He made the call immediately. That was close. So it's 0-2 to Bonds.
The old game of inches. That was a game of half inches right there.
Brian Fisher now warming for the Pirates. And it's ball 1 to Bonds. Barry Jones had been up earlier when the Mets were threatening. And now Brian Fisher, the right-hander, is up. Fouled out of play, and the count remains 1-2. Barry Bonds, a very well-spoken young man. who carried himself, I thought, quite nicely last year through his rookie season. He does, as you and Ralph were talking about earlier, have tremendous potential.
Sky's the limit.
2-2 now. As Bobby Ojeda works here in the 7th.
Young players like Bonds and Strawberry, and you start talking about those people.
And he rips this one down the right field line, and this one will be in there. And the ball dies, and he's going to try to go to second. Strawberry's throw cut off by Tuffle, and the throw had no chance to beat Bonds to the bag. It'll be a double with 1 out here in the 7th for Barry Bonds.
The plate, the catcher, Junior Ortiz.
Ojeda gives him a little breaking ball. Bonds reaches out for it, hits it fairly well. As you saw when it hit the grass, it just stopped. The grass really caught that ball, threw Strawberry off stride, and Bonds went in the second with a double.
On the greens, they would say it checked up nicely. Right, Ralph?
It did look like a Ralph Kiner wedge to me.
Right up there. Snugged it right in against that flag. Checked it right up there.
As I was telling you, when you say the sky's the limit for a young man, it just depends on how much he wants to work, how much of himself he wants to give in all different facets of the game. And if they really do want to give, they can be great players.
Ortiz bunting, pops it up, but it's going to land, and Ojeda has to throw off balance and can't get it there in time to get Ortiz, who does run pretty well. And on the play, Bonds crosses over to third. So runners at first and third for Pittsburgh with 1 out.
Here you're going to see Junior Ortiz lay down an excellent bunt. He gets it up in the air, but that just makes it die all the more when it hits the ground. Ojeda actually makes a fine effort to try to get Junior Ortiz. As Steve said, Junior runs fairly well for a catcher. Somewhere down the line, someone feels that Howard Johnson plays a deep third base. There is no doubt that that was discussed. Morrison dumped the ball down the third base line. So did Junior Ortiz, and that was discussed before this game ever started.
And Belliard tried to bunt with 2 out for a base hit earlier in the ball game as well.
That's something that went amongst everybody. They discussed that in the pregame meetings.
Johnny Ray is 2 for 3, and this one's popped up and may stay in play. Nope, it's behind the dugout as Hernandez, Ojeda, and Carter are all there giving it a look, and it bounces out of the stands and back into the low first camera position. So it's 1-1 to Johnny Ray. Ray singled to right in the first, singled to left in the third, and hit into a double play in the 5th inning. Doug Sisk and Gene Walter now warming up.
I like to see things like we just saw right there with Bobby Ojeda. Bobby Ojeda was right over there at that dugout with Keith Hernandez and Gary Carter.
This is a big out right here, and he wants to get it if he can. Fastball high and away. 2-1. Ordinarily, with runners at first and third and 1 out in a tight ball game, you try to get a strikeout in this situation, but Johnny Ray's the wrong guy to have up there as far as the Mets are concerned. 74 plate appearances this spring. He struck out twice, and he fouls another one out of play in the count at 2-2.
You know, there's certain hitters, when they get 2 strikes on them, you almost wish they don't get to the second strike, because they're just going to make it real tough on you to strike them out. They're going to make some contact.
You saw the runners, Barry Bonds at third and Junior Ortiz at first. They represent the tying runs with 1 out here in the 7th inning. Fastball foul back, still 2-2.
Bobby Ojeda reached back for everything he had there. Almost snuck that ball by Johnny Ray. He was behind that pitch, but as an outstanding hitter often does, he found a way to make some contact, foul that ball off,
and not put it in play where he could make it out. The Pirates have managed 10 hits so far, but only 1 run. 3-2 now as it's high. And with 1 out, we'll see if they put Ortiz in motion at first base.
Well, with Johnny Ray as a hitter, if they don't, I'll be very surprised. He's got to move on this play. The defense should be aware of that too.
Exactly.
Because if it's a slow hit ball, they should maybe, if they have the opportunity, get the guy out at the plate.
The runner was not going as Ortiz broke after contact was made, and the ball fouled off, so the count remains 3-2. I am, as you, Russ, amazingly surprised. Ortiz was not running with the pitch.
Well, he might have just wanted to make sure that he was going to the plate. Junior's not a real experienced base runner. And I think he was probably with that left-handed move that Bobby Ojeda has the first base, being very conservative.
Three and two with one out, and runners at first and third. Ortiz now breaks, and it's a hard hit ball to second. Santana completes it, and they turn the double play. Tuffle to Santana to Hernandez, and once again, with runners at first and third, the Pirates are turned away. As after 6.5, New York and Bobby Ojeda still lead the Pirates here on opening day 3-1. Now here's a word from American Express.
One word distinguishes the American Express card from the others. Member. And membership has its privileges.
Your American Express receipt should help.
And your very own. Just in case.
Oh, Daddy.
Bangkok today. Yeah, I'm packed.
At Meineke Discount Mufflers,
I'm not gonna pay a lot for this muffler.
you're not going to pay a lot because Meineke's muffler prices range from $18.93 to $26.95 installed.
Fans, we invite you to join the Mets as they celebrate opening day 2 on Thursday afternoon, April 9th, against these same Pittsburgh Pirates. Opening day 2, which promises to be just as exciting as today's opening day, is also Sony Tape World Champs Keychain Day, as all fans in attendance will receive a keychain commemorating the Mets' '86 World Championship. Opening day 2 also marks the return of Rodney Dangerfield on hand to show his respect for the world champs, and an exciting schedule of opening day 2 activities as well. Tickets are still available for opening day 2 at all Ticketron outlets, at Shea Stadium's advanced ticket window, or call 718-507-TIXX for more ticket information. So catch all the excitement of Sony Tape World Champs Keychain Day on opening day 2 this Thursday. Come on out to Shea and see the world champs playing baseball like it ought to be.
And when the Mets play the Atlanta Braves on Saturday and Sunday, April 11th and 12th, it'll be Snapper Calendar Weekend. All fans both days will receive a full-color 1987 team calendar featuring memorable moments of the Mets' 1986 championship season. The calendar also includes a full-color pull-out team poster of the 1986 World Champions, all courtesy of Snapper Lawn and Garden Equipment. Again, tickets are available at all Ticketron outlets, Shea Stadium's advanced ticket window, or call 718-507-TIXX for more information. Don't forget, it's Snapper Calendar Weekend, Saturday and Sunday, April 11th and 12th.
Brian Fisher into the game, who was, of course, with the New York Yankees last season, and you see his numbers with the Yanks in '86. So Bob Patterson pitches 6 innings, gives up 3 runs, all earned on 5 hits. He struck out 3 and walked 1. And let's go back, Russ, and look at that great double play, as that ball was another rocket right at Tim Tuffle.
Well, that's all you can do is hope when you have a fine hitter like Johnny Ray. Tuffle gives a good delivery to Santana, a good backhand feed on a ball like that when the guy is running. That's just an outstanding play on both parts.
That was the 3rd double play that the Mets have turned this afternoon, and the Pirates continue to be turned away as they have now left a total of 8 men on base. Santana grounds one to shortstop Rafael Belliard, who throws out the other Rafael, and there's one out in the bottom of the 7th for New York. And Len Dykstra is out to pinch hit for Bob Ojeda, who goes 7 here in his first start of the season. And Dykstra gets a well-deserved round of applause, even though he had a very tough spring.
He certainly did, Steve. He was disappointed in not being able to start this game. Mookie Wilson certainly earned the right to be out in center field. Lenny's going to get a chance to play a lot of baseball in 1987. And I'm sure he is eager to prove that there's a reason why.
And Len takes a ball low and inside. Coming off an outstanding year last year, and of course a tremendous postseason for the Mets. Dykstra never was able to get it going this spring offensively. He hit 190 in spring training. And squared the bunt, but took it for a strike.
Lenny had a couple of those nagging little injuries during the spring training period. Had a little something with his chest. As there you see Jesse Orozco, who is going to be coming in to pitch for the New York Mets.
And he takes a fastball right in there for strike 2. 2-2 now to Len Dykstra, pinch hitting for Bob Ojeda. 1 out and nobody on here in the 7th, and the Mets still leading the Pirates 3-1.
Ryan Fisher in spring training gave up 4 home runs.
But on the ground to short, Belliard scoops it up, and they're 2 away.
Here's the Mets.
And that'll bring up Mookie Wilson.
Mookie Wilson.
Mookie 2 for 3, a single to center and a run scored in the first, a single to right in the third, and he struck out looking in the 5th inning against Patterson. So he will swing around now to the left side for the first time today against Fisher. And a ball outside.
I don't think I've ever been in a situation where I've seen 2 guys on the same ball club vying for the same job being loved so much by the fans. Equally, you know.
1-1. Yeah, there are a lot of mixed emotions, I'm sure, among the fans as to who they prefer to see out there in center field. But if Davey continues to platoon and both are able to produce, everybody will be happy.
That's the name of the game, production.
2-1. And another good fastball, and it's 2-2. Wally Backman on deck. The pinch hit for Tim Tuffle should Wilson get aboard. 3-2 now with 2 out.
I think even if Mookie makes an out, Davey's going to make the switch, and he'll flip-flop a little bit and let Wally Backman go into the game defensively.
Patterson with good heat strikes out Wilson to end the inning. A 1-2-3 inning for him. Fisher it is, and not Patterson. So we've completed 7 here on opening day at Shea, and the Mets are out in front 3-1. We're back after this for AT&T.
You touch a button and reach out across time and space. A miracle. To all of you who trusted us when we asked you to make the right choice, AT&T makes a promise. The miracle we created to serve you continues. In the months to come, we'd like to take you behind the button, into the most intelligent long-distance network on Earth, to show you how our scientists compress the intelligence of this into this, to change the speed and ease with which the world communicates forever, to see how we improve sound quality by turning it into millions of digital signals, or create lightning in a laboratory to test our equipment, the equipment you depend on before nature does. Because AT&T believes that behind the wonder of every technology, you must hear the human heart.
I'm fine, Mom. Yeah, the storm's over.
We're reaching further to bring your world closer. AT&T, the right choice.
America speaks out for Chevrolet.
Your money's worth. I know where you can get it. Your Chevrolet dealer has it. In abundance. Sprint, the highest gas mileage in America. Spectrum, European design, built in Japan. Nova, Japanese design at a Chevy price. Cavalier, coupe, sedan, wagon, and convertible. Your Chevy dealer gives you more ways to get your money's worth than anybody else.
Magnum goes pro football, but winds up blocking bullets tonight at 6.
Orozco.
Len Dykstra remains in the game in center field, replacing Mookie Wilson. And Wally Backman does in fact come in to replace Tim Tuffle at second base. And on the mound, Jesse Orozco, who will bat first in the batting order. Jesse last year 8-6 with 21 saves and a 2.33 ERA for New York. In his 6th year in the big leagues, after Bobby Ojeda pitches the first 7 and gives up just 1 run on 10 hits. He struck out 3 and he walked 1. And as we go to the 8th inning with the Mets leading 3-1, back in again, Tim McCarver.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. Orozco last year against Pittsburgh was 2-0 in 6 games. He had 3 saves. So in all but 1 game, he had a decision or a save. He was 2-0 with 3 saves in 6 ball games. He's 7-3 lifetime against the Pirates. Bobby Bonilla, the batter.
Well, then he and Ojeda are a pretty potent combination against Pittsburgh, because Ojeda coming into today 4-0 with a 0.68 ERA against the Bucks.
He dominated Pittsburgh last year, as did the Mets, winning 17 of 18. Bonilla 1 for 3. He's been on base a couple of times. Single to right in the first, on an error, and he struck out. And he takes ball 1. Fly ball right field. Easy play for Strawberry. And he one-hands it for the out. 1 away here in the 8th, and the batter will be Andy Van Slyke.
Coming around to the plate, right fielder Andy
Van Slyke struck out twice his first 2 times up. Runners at first and third each time, and then he tripled with nobody on. So had Andy chosen that triple, either of his first 2 at bats, this game would have been tied. If butterflies had legs instead of wings, they'd be butterwalkers, right?
I guess. Well, Van Slyke continuing to struggle against left-handed pitching.
Batted only 195 last year with the Cardinals. Batted 304 as a left-handed batter against right-handed pitching. 109-point difference. Fastball is low. 1-2 to Andy Van Slyke.
And as with Darryl Strawberry, Van Slyke really has a problem with the breaking ball from left-handers. You saw in the first pitch from Orozco, his knees buckle a little bit.
The quick breaking ball, the better of the 2 breaking balls to throw left-handed pitcher to left-handed hitter. And the reason for that is most left-handed hitters are low ball hitters, and low ball hitters can double crank on the breaking ball, the slower breaking ball. Fastball struck him out for the 3rd time today. Van Slyke goes down on strikes. There are 2 outs and nobody on.
Now batting, third baseman.
Good high heat from Orozco, and Van Slyke obviously has to be concerned about the breaking ball, and Orozco able to come back and blow him away.
Jim Morrison, the batter. By the double crank, I mean that you can adjust to the breaking ball. The fast one's on top of you so quickly that there's no time for the left-handed hitter to adjust as Morrison takes a strike. 3-1 New York. The Mets with only 5 hits, but they made 1 of them count. 0-2 to Morrison, and Orozco looks sharp.
And when you talk about those 2 types of breaking balls, Jesse has them. He has that sweeper, and then that much sharper break that is also very effective for Jesse against right-handed hitters.
Breaking ball just misses. He calls both pitches his slider, but the difference is he's more on top of the ball that goes down and more sidearm on the ball that's a sweeping breaking ball. There's the curveball, grounded foul. Curveball in effect.
There's somebody's scorecard.
That's too neat to be Bill Webb's.
Got that right. Too neat to be mine, too. Yeah, Bill points out all the names are spelled right, so it can't be mine either. I'm having a tough time with block printing is all I'm getting past.
Looks like he took something off the fastball. It's 2-2 to Jim Morrison. Nobody on. 2 outs. We're in the top of the 8th inning. The Mets on a 3-run homer by Darryl Strawberry in the first inning, took a 3-0 lead. Breaking ball high. And then the Pirates plated 1 run in the top of the 6th on a single by Jim Morrison. It's 3-2 to Jim now. Grounded sharply toward Johnson. He'll have to recover in a hurry, and he does. Ball hit very sharply, played nicely by Johnson. A quick, easy inning for Orozco. 3 up, 3 down after 7.5. It's 3-1 New York. We go to the middle of the 8th after this word from Nissan.
Power, performance, excitement. If they make your temperature rise, Nissan has 3 kinds of heat.
We got the power to make you move. We make you feel like driving. We make you feel like driving.
The hot new wide-open Pulsar NX. The hotter V6 200SX. The hottest 300ZX ever. They're what hot driving is all about.
We make you feel like driving. And the name is Nissan.
What's your stupid dog up to now, Charlie Brown? You mean you never heard of Sherlock Hound, alias the MetLife representative? When a customer has a question, the MetLife representative knows where to find the right answers. And he'll get back to them fast? Elementary, my dear Lucy. Get Met. It pays.
Hello. We were interested to learn from our most recent research that one of the groups who like Bartles and James best are the yuppies. Well, if some of our customers have chosen to be yuppies as they're calling, it is okay with Ed and me. I believe that is entirely their own business, even though I personally would just not care to shave my head and stand around in airports. So please continue to enjoy the Bartles and James Premium Wine Cooler, even if you are a yuppie, or whatever your race or creed. And thank you for your support.
At Meineke Discount Mufflers,
I'm not gonna pay a lot for this muffler.
you're not going to pay a lot because Meineke's muffler prices range from $18.93 to $26.95 installed.
Smiley.
Well, Wally Backman leads it off in the bottom of the 8th, and a nice play by Howard Johnson into the top of the 8th.
Well, this is something that you've talked about before, Timmy. When you play first or third, particularly third and second, too, you can balk a ball and knock it down and still have time to recover and make the play. An advantage, obviously, a shortstop doesn't have. And Howard Johnson played that hard smash appropriately and stayed with it nicely.
And the Pirates unusually have a new pitcher, and it's a left-hander, John Smiley. And this is really, when you think about it, not a bad move by Jim Leland, the manager, because he's got to hold the Mets down in this inning. And with the left-hander, well, first of all, the switch hitter Backman, and then Hernandez, as Backman grounds right side. Bream, easy play, 1 out.
Well, with the right-handed pitcher, Brian Fisher coming in the 7th inning, Davy Johnson making the appropriate changes, so Jim Leland countering after Fisher pitched a good inning, a 1-2-3 inning with a strikeout. And with the lineup that the Mets have now, and of course Backman and Hernandez coming up, he goes back and gets left-hander John Sally, who was at Prince William last year. He was 2-4 there, and he was 1-0 with the Pirates. And I like that.
Yeah, it's really an excellent managerial move because of the fact that you've got to hold the Mets down anyway right now to give you a chance. And it's early in the season. You're not really concerned about your pitching staff, but it is very rare for a manager to make a move with a short reliever without having to use a pinch hitter in the process. 1-1 to Hernandez. Keith 1 for 3. He has hit 3 rockets all day. Could very easily be 3 for 3. He lined to right, lined to left, and lined to single to right his 3rd time up. Good cut. Fouls it back, 1-2.
And unless the Pirates have made some kind of a double switch out there that we haven't noticed, it's even more unusual because the pitcher's scheduled up 3rd the next inning for Pittsburgh.
That's right. Well, I think it's quite evident from Jim Leland's way of thinking. It's a pretty sound way of thinking. And he's just made the pitching change without using a pinch hitter. He's concerned about defense and pitching as Hernandez rips one to left center for a double.
Keith really in a groove. He has hit 4 balls now very hard, and you see Bonds and Bonilla both chasing this ball. Barry can't get there, and again it checks up nicely on the warning track as the ground is soft out there. And Hernandez, who lined out his first 2 times up, now has a single and a double as Dave Cone and Terry Leach start warming for New York.
Both right-handers obviously just getting their throwing in right now because Jesse Orozco appears to be in full control in relief of Bobby Ojeda. Gary Carter, 1 for 3, a line drive, base hit, center field. Hernandez is going to try to score. Bonds with a good arm. Out at home. Hernandez is going to argue that he missed him, but Billy Williams, the home plate umpire, called Keith Hernandez out. 2 outs.
The throw is up the line toward third, and it makes it an awkward play for Hernandez. He's not sure if there's going to be a collision or not, and in trying to avoid Junior Ortiz at the last minute and crossing the plate, Keith looked as if he might have stumbled a little bit. But did Ortiz make the tag? I don't think so.
If he did, he just nicked him on the seat of the pants.
Followed through nicely to get the call from Billy Williams anyway.
So Hernandez, after doubling, is thrown out by Barry Bonds on a fine throw. Darryl Strawberry takes the first pitch for a ball. It was Strawberry's 3-run homer in the first inning. That's the difference in this game. 3-1 New York. Ball 2. Pirates have Logan Easley warming up in the bullpen. Should Strawberry get on there, Jim Leland may make a move with McReynolds on deck. Johnny Ray an easy chance, and he throws out Strawberry. So the Mets threatened but failed to score. They had a couple of hits. Hernandez thrown out at home. After 8, they lead 3-1, and we'll be back after this word from the good old guys.
Take off the car you're wearing. Wear a Sierra from Oldsmobile.
Cutlass Sierra is red hot, and we're going to make it even hotter by having a red hot car sale. Now you can slip into the top-selling car in New York, New Jersey, and Southern Connecticut for a special low price.
Wear a Sierra for less.
The good old guys are designing Cutlass Sierra deals you just haven't heard before.
Wear a Sierra from the good old guys.
The game Monopoly has come to life at McDonald's.
Okay, my McDLT for your Baltic Avenue. And your Coca-Cola.
And you can win big.
Marvin Gardens! Marvin Gardens!
Monopoly has come to life at McDonald's with over $40 million in food, prizes, and cash. You could win $1 million. Collect the right game pieces or win instantly.
Boardwalk!
Do not pass go. Go directly to McDonald's.
Bartender?
Yeah.
Give me a light. A light?
Yeah.
Why, sure.
Oh, I've got it.
No, a Bud Light.
If you want the great taste of Bud Light, ask for it.
Bartender.
Yes?
Give me a... let's see. Give me a Bud Light.
Everything else is just a light.
Nice call.
Thanks.
The Albert Brothers on News 9 double sports coverage, weeknights at 8.
Well, Keith Hernandez thrown out at the plate on a fine, strong throw by center fielder Barry Bonds. But Junior Ortiz really makes this play. It's not an easy ball to handle. And, of course, Hernandez was bearing down on him. Junior may or may not have tagged him, but he came up with the play. And Hernandez trying to avoid contact. Ortiz made it look as if he made the tag anyway and turned right around to Billy Williams and showed him the ball.
I think you brought up an excellent point. Hernandez coming in and a tough hop for Ortiz to handle. Anytime you see a catcher making that tag with the glove hand, it's not designed for that, but once he does it, he likes to tell everybody about it. That's what Junior's doing now. So that was a great play, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'd call that the Matador play.
Yeah, ole.
Ole. Whether or not he tagged him became a moot point, and he did make a fine play to get the call, and of course, had he not come up with the ball, there would have been no question about it. So Sid Bream will lead off the 9th inning for Pittsburgh. Still 3-1 New York. The Mets scored their 3 way back in the 1st on Darryl Strawberry's home run, and the Pirates added 1 in the 6th. Bream in the ball game 2 for 3 with a couple of singles. He struck out his last time up, and he's facing Orozco for the first time. And that sweeper is low and away, ball 1. Steve Zabriskie, Tim McCarver, Ralph Kiner, and Rusty Staub proud to be back with you and bringing you Mets baseball once again. Here on opening day, a rocket through the middle. It ricochets off the top of the mound, and Bream now 3 for 4. His 3rd single. And Onyx Concepcion is going to pinch hit for Rafael Belliard with Bream at first and nobody out here in the 9th.
Your attention, please.
That base hit the first
for shortstop
off Jesse Orozco, who had a 1-2-3 inning in the 8th.
Concepcion, formerly with the Kansas City Royals, hit .284 at Omaha, the AAA affiliate of Kansas City last year, and he signed as a free agent in February of this year.
And he is no relation to Davey Concepcion of the Reds. Popped up foul and out of play down the right field line for strike 1.
Do you know that Concepcion played 108 games for the world champion Kansas City Royals and just 2 years ago in 1985?
I remember that he was with the big club, but I didn't realize he played that many games.
108 games. That's because Buddy Biancalana stole all his thunder because of David Letterman.
That's true. Letterman was running a campaign to get Biancalana in there. This may fall in, and it does in front of Strawberry. Bream holding up at second. And so the Pirates here in the 9th inning have something going with runners at first and second and nobody out. And yet another pinch hitter striding to the plate in the person of strong Mike Diaz, who will now go down and talk to Gene Lamont, the third base coach.
You kind of wonder what he's talking about. I doubt seriously that Diaz is up there to bunt. However, this goes back to Jim Leland's insertion of John Smiley in the bottom of the 8th inning to try to hold the Mets down. Maybe Leland will bunt to tie with Barry Bonds on deck.
But if he were going to, don't you think he'd use someone other than Diaz who has some power?
Yeah, you would. If that's the case, why would Diaz be talking to Gene Lamont? And now here comes Leland out to explain it to everybody.
Well, who's
probably to catch the elevator to come up here to the booth and explain all those questions.
I think Onyx Concepcion may have hurt himself.
It's the first at bat of the season. He signed as a free agent. How can he do that?
He apparently didn't loosen up.
I'm kidding, because this is tough weather to loosen up. A pinch hitter, it is tough on pinch hitters. It looks like Bill Allman may be the pinch runner for Concepcion because he represents the tying run.
And you want to be sure that you've got somebody out there that can carry the mail, as it were. So Concepcion will come out of the game. You know, when a guy goes in defensively, usually he goes down the bullpen and he warms up and he stretches and he throws. Pinch hitters don't do that. They get in the on-deck circle and they get their upper body loose to a certain degree, but they really don't have much of a chance to loosen up their legs. And then if they have to run cold, they can pull something quite easily.
He ran cold, but not hard. He singled to right field. You could understand it if it was a close infield hit or something like that, but he didn't have to run, so he may have pulled that muscle on the swing.
Or just out of the box. Sometimes when you first shove off in an effort to get out of the box, if there's loose footing particularly, you can pop a hamstring or something.
Okay.
But you're right, he didn't have to bust it down to first. So he has been replaced at first by Bill Allman, and Mike Diaz with good power as the batter. And a fastball low and inside, ball 1. Diaz hit .268, 12 homers and 36 RBIs for the Pirates last year, as you look at second-year manager Jim Leland. Nobody out with runners at first and second. And it's 1-1. Orozco trying to save it for Bob Ojeda, as Ojeda went the first 7. Don Robinson one of only 2 Pirates left since 1982, along with Johnny Ray warming up. Diaz with a high fly ball into left. McReynolds calling off Dykstra. Settles under it, and there's one away. So the runners remain at first and second. Allman at first. And Bream at second. And the leadoff batter, Barry Bonds, will be the hitter. Bonds 1 for 4, double to right his last time up.
And you may be thinking at home, why didn't Diaz bunt? It's just not good percentages to bunt 2 runners over to try to tie the game, and the base hit to tie the game would have to come from a left-hander, Barry Bonds, hitting against the left-handed Orozco. So your real percentages are with having Diaz swing away. He did, just didn't work.
You especially wouldn't want to do that on the road either, Timmy.
That's right.
Because there's no sense playing for a tie on the road with the home team having the last at bat here in the 9th inning. Just outside, ball 1.
Yeah, if Diaz makes an out, I mean, you're not out of the inning. Barry Bonds could very easily get a base hit and put him right back in there, but that's a bad play there.
Bonds coming up on the ball, and an effort to bunt took it for ball 2.
No percentages in bunting if Diaz didn't. Barry Bonds, you got those guys out there that represent the tying run. In my opinion, you go to swinging away.
You're not bunting with nobody out. You're not bunting with 1 out. A little bit high, and it's 3-0. First and second and 1 out. A 3-1 New York lead in the top of the 9th inning. And a 3-0 count to Barry Bonds. Ball 4. The bases are loaded. And now the tying run is in scoring position, and a potential go-ahead run for the Pirates is on base. There's still only 1 out.
Catcher.
And the batter now, Junior Ortiz, who is 1 for 3 plus a walk. Ortiz with a bunt base hit his last time up in the 7th inning. Grounded foul for strike 1.
There's some major league hitters where you've got to make them, if you're an outfielder, make them hit the ball over your head. And Junior Ortiz is one guy. In 4 major league seasons, he has 1 home run. Met outfield in center and right, not real deep, but probably too deep.
Probably particularly Strawberry and right, because Ortiz has a tendency, as you pointed out earlier, Timmy, to more often than not hit the ball the other way.
With not a lot of power.
Off the end of the bat, a tough number, and Orozco floats it into foul territory, then throws it away. Backman backing up on the play. Bream scoring from third to make it 3-2 New York, and the bases are still loaded, still with 1 out.
Well, Orozco really tried to rush this play. I think he was going to try to pick it up and then tag Ortiz at the same time, and you got to catch it first. The ball eventually hitting Ortiz, and the throw errant anyway. Little nubber out in front of the plate. We'll see how they score it. Is it an error?
I think it's an error. I don't think they've scored it yet. If Orozco fields the ball cleanly, he at least should be able to tag Ortiz, who was not by him at the time. So if I were scoring, I'd give him an error on the play, but they haven't posted anything as yet. They have scored it a base hit. So apparently will be an infield base hit and an RBI for Ortiz. Time called now as the runner at second base, Barry Bonds, has a problem with his shoe, apparently, and has to come into the dugout.
Here's the play again, a little short hop, and you can see Orozco looking up. He wanted to tag Junior Ortiz, but he really had plenty of time to stop and either tag him or throw it to Hernandez. But sometimes when you're trying to field the ball like that, you really don't know where on the down the line you really are. You think you're maybe too close to first base to do everything, and you think you have to make all of the moves with one motion. Pick it up, make the tag. I would imagine that's what Jesse was thinking then.
Well, going as a base hit and an RBI for Ortiz, the Pirates now have 13 hits in the ball game, 3 now off of Roscoe. And it is 3-2. And now Johnny Ray, who singled his first 2 times up and grounded into double plays his last 2 times up. 2 for 4. Popped up behind second. Backman squeezes it 2 away. And a big out for Jesse Orozco in the Mets.
Well, I'll tell you, you never know how this game's going to end up. But the last 2 times Johnny Ray has been up, he's had a man on third base in less than 2 outs. And of all the guys in the National League, he's one of the guys, maybe the main guy, that you'd want up in a situation like that, because he's not going to strike out. He's got good speed. Here today, he's grounded into 2 double plays, and now stranded a runner at third.
He made contact, but to no avail.
Right.
Now the crowd gets up. As with 2 out here in the 9th and a 1-run ball game, and the bases loaded, Jesse Orozco works to Bobby Bonilla, who's 1 for 4. Ground ball to second. Backman waiting to Hernandez, and the Mets win again on opening day. The Mets have won 16 of their last 18 opening day affairs, and are now 16-10 on opening day throughout their history. After winning 108 games during the regular season in '86, they start off on a winning note again with a 3-2 victory over the Pirates here at Shea this afternoon before another sellout crowd. And here's how it ended.
You know, it's not how you make the outs, or it's not if you make an out, it's how you make it and when you make it. Had Johnny Ray hit a ball like that, it'd have been a tie ball game, because you're not going to double him up. Bonilla hit it and the game's over.
Here's Davies' reaction in the dugout. Got this one in the bag, although it was touchy. And Jim Leland back to the water cooler for how many times?
Well, we've said so often that managers always get a drink when they're least thirsty.
The Pirates leave a bunch on, and the New York Mets, although they give up 13 hits, come away with the victory. Tim and I'll be right back to wrap it up. And, of course, following the wrap-up, the inaugural 1987 edition of Kiner's Corner. So stay with us. The Mets win it again on opening day, beating the Pirates 3-2. And we're back after this for the Bell Atlantic Yellow Pages.
We were covering an insurance company for New Jersey Bell Yellow Pages.
So to cut costs, we might consider advertising in this other Yellow Pages.
Sounds risky, Joe.
Risky? What's risky?
Not advertising in the genuine New Jersey Bell Yellow Pages, where you get what you pay for. You see, 99% of the public knows our book.
And 92% of them call them businesses they find there.
You got that?
Yes, sir. That's a lot of coverage.
And that's our policy. Case closed. Don't be fooled. Advertise in the genuine Yellow Pages from New Jersey Bell. We wrote the book.
This is 58th Street. Let's just go up Fifth Avenue.
Yes, that would be wonderful. Oh, dear.
What?
I think it started. I need an ambulance.
Oh, no. Don't panic. Don't panic. Excuse me, sir. Wait, can you just... we need a hospital. Oh, wait, can you stop for 1 second? My wife's having a baby. I need a hospital. Is anybody a doctor here? Oh, pardon me. We're from out of town. Find the doctor. Oh, sweetie, everything's fine. You're fine.
Let me through, please. Let me through. I'm a British Airways stewardess.
Everyone at British Airways is trained to an extraordinarily high standard in the art of caring for people. And wherever they are, they remember it.
Don't worry. You're going to be all right. Everything's under control. Your wife's fine. She's on her way to the maternity ward.
British Airways, the world's favorite airline.
We weren't named Copier Manufacturer of the Year for making vacuum cleaners. Mida, we make our great copiers.
Steve Zabriskie and Tim McCarver back at Shea with you, where the Pirates have won it again on opening day, 3-2. What'd I say? The Pirates have won it again? The Mets have won again on opening day, 3-2 over the Pittsburgh Pirates. And, of course, Darryl Strawberry's 3-run home run in the first inning providing all the offense. Bobby Ojeda had a pretty good outing, even though he gave up 10 base hits. He only gave up 1 run, and although Jesse Orozco had a threat or 2, he came away with the first save of the year.
I'll tell you, today's victory by Bob Ojeda and the Mets kind of reminded me of Game 3 in the World Series when Bobby Ojeda gave up 10 hits against the Boston Red Sox and pulled the Mets out of that hole. I guess it's poetic justice that 2 years ago the Pittsburgh Pirates really thwarted the Mets' chances in the latter part of the season, winning 4 of 6 ball games against New York, and the Mets had to go into St. Louis, if you remember, and win 3 in a row from the Cardinals. They could only win 2, and they end up losing the pennant by 3 games, even though they won 98 games. And since that time, they've beaten the Pirates 18 out of 19 times. So I guess the Met players remember that.
Yes, I think so. 10-0 now here at Shea, counting last season and now the first game of this season with a 3-2 victory here this afternoon. And now it's time for the Budweiser play of the game, and there's no doubt about what it is here. Darryl Strawberry turning on a Bob Patterson fastball and losing it over the right center field fence to drive in all 3 runs that the Mets would need to win this one today. For all you do for the New York Mets, Darryl Strawberry, this Bud's for you. Today's Budweiser play of the game. Tim and I'll be right back with more of the wrap-up here from Shea Stadium, where the Mets have won it 3-2 over the Pirates on opening day 1987, right after this word from Bud Light.
It was so simple. Really. A direct electrical charge here heats up the carbonized filament here, which in turn excites the gases trapped in here. And voila!
Well, it's very nice, Thomas. But I wanted a Bud Light.
If you want the great taste of Bud Light, ask for it.
Don't feel bad, Thomas. It's not a complete loss.
Bud Light, because everything else is just a light.
Nissan announces the best deal ever on this 87 hard-body truck. A $630 Value Plus package with top custom bumpers,
Sliding rear window.
dual outside mirrors, and a lot more at no extra charge. Then add in our 3.9% factory-sponsored financing. Depending on the model you choose and length of contract, you could save over $1,400. That's a ton of money and a lot of truck. So hurry down to your Nissan dealer now and drive home our best deal ever.
Your financial picture. It's brighter than ever before. But to get where you want to go, you need more than traditional banking. We're Manufacturers Hanover. We'll introduce you to a world of advanced financial services. From banking at home to personal money management, we'll help speed you toward your financial goals. Manufacturers Hanover, the financial source worldwide.
One-half pound of beef, flame broiled, the double beef Whopper, the one that does the job, the double beef Whopper. Burger King, the best food for fast times.
Back here at Shea, where the Mets win it 3-2, and you know, following the last week of spring training for the New York Mets, which was not very good, not only with the off-field problems and the injuries and Dwight Gooden's problem, but the Mets only won 1 game the last week of spring training, and Davey Johnson was concerned not only about that, but their attitude, and I think for that reason, there was a little extra emphasis on winning this game today.
Well, the attitude, especially from a psychological standpoint, with the shocking news about Dwight Gooden, it's obviously good to get out of the chute. The players need to relax because, after all, they've been under a great deal of duress the last week with all of the things that have been going on around training camp, the traveling north and all that. And that's one of the reasons I think they won only 1 ball game.
Well, now they've won 1 in the regular season when it really counts, and they look forward to Thursday against the Pittsburgh Pirates, opening day 2. Here again at Shea. Here are the totals once again on the opening day victory for New York today. For the victorious Mets, 3 runs, but only a total of 7 hits. I say only because the Pittsburgh Pirates had 2 runs on 13 hits. The Mets committed 2 errors and the Pirates 1. Bob Ojeda, with the biggest winning percentage in National League's play last year, picks up his first victory. And Bob Patterson was the loser. He is now 0-1. And we're back to Shea for a final word after this for Manufacturers Hanover.
We're Manufacturers Hanover, changing and growing to meet your needs. In Denver, a homeowner buys a lawnmower with the help of our MasterCard. In St. Louis, our investment banking group paves the way for a series of interest rate swaps. In Portland, our CIT Capital Financing Company funds a corporate jet. We're Manufacturers Hanover, and now you know why we're called the financial source worldwide.
You touch a button and reach out across time and space. A miracle. To all of you who trusted us when we asked you to make the right choice, AT&T makes a promise. The miracle we created to serve you continues. In the months to come, we'd like to take you behind the button, into the most intelligent long-distance network on Earth, to show you how our scientists compress the intelligence of this into this, to change the speed and ease with which the world communicates forever, to see how we improve sound quality by turning it into millions of digital signals, or create lightning in a laboratory to test our equipment, the equipment you depend on before nature does. Because AT&T believes that behind the wonder of every technology, you must hear the human heart.
I'm fine, Mom. Yeah, the storm's over.
We're reaching further to bring your world closer. AT&T, the right choice.
Well, the final once again, the Mets winning it 3-2 over the Pittsburgh Pirates. A paid crowd of 46,102, a total of in excess of 47,000 in the house. Of course, Shea holding over 50,000, but the crowd held down even though every ticket was sold. Only those in attendance because of the threat of inclement weather. And we'll see you back here on WOR on Friday night. Timmy?
All right, Stevie. New York Mets baseball has been brought to you by Bud Light, the light beer with the first name and taste. Everything else is just a light. By Manufacturers Hanover, the financial source worldwide. By Nissan, who invites you to test drive the Go Anywhere Pathfinder at your Nissan dealer now. By the New Jersey Bell Yellow Pages. By your New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut Lincoln, Mercury, Mercur dealers. And by RC Cola. People go out of their way for the taste of RC. Fans guests this afternoon will receive a Master Mechanic 7 1/4-inch circular saw, belt sander, variable speed reversing drill, and a jigsaw. It's a lot, isn't it? Exclusively from True Value hardware stores. And an Emerson 19-inch diagonal color television with auto color control system. The executive producer of Mets Baseball 87 is Rick Miner. Produced and directed by Bill Webb. And as Steve Zabriskie said, you can be with us again on Friday night when the Mets take on the Atlanta Braves live. Right here from Shea Stadium, 7:30 game time here on WOR. Mets Baseball 87 is a production of Channel 9 Sports, and the announcers on the preceding telecast were approved and contracted for by Sterling Doubleday Enterprise LP. Now, folks, please stay tuned. You'll be glad you did for Kiner's Corner. Ralph's special guest this afternoon, he had his first game-winning home run of the year, Darryl Strawberry. Good day, everybody.
$18, right?
For your car. Muffler costs more!
Save yourself the nightmare. Get the right muffler for the right price. Miticize it.
Will all those into the taste of the flame-broiled Whopper please signify by raising your right hand or your left. Burger King, the best food for fast times.
Manhattan Cable TV presents Headline Habits. With Manhattan Cable TV, you can watch the evening news whenever you want it on the Headline News Network.
Headline News, I'm Lynn Russell.
Get the cable channel that's right for